Warning! The Stone Age Gamer podcast includes a lot of bad language. Cover your motherfucking ears.
Good evening and welcome to the Stone Age Gamer podcast. I am Kris Randazzo and joining me tonight is 1080 Jackknife Werewolf Farmer Backflip Babel Grab, Dan Ryan.
I was really hoping I was going to get like a cool skateboardy thing for tonight's episode. Well done, sir.
Thank you. It's time for the Alphabet Super Series. Dan's pick for the letter T was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, and as somebody who knows a lot about skateboarding, obviously, I was very excited to dive into this classic for the very first time. Does its gameplay hold up as well as its soundtrack? Get your trans pins ball bearings minimalized because the Stone Age Gamer podcast starts now.
Yep, skateboard words.
Yes, I have stolen these skateboard words straight out of a Season 3 episode of Syphil and Ollie, because that show had exactly one guest in its entire tenure, and that one guest was Tony Hawk.
Of course
he was filling in for St. Peter at the pearly gates. And the trick that Ollie told him that he was going to do was the 1080 Jackknife Werewolf Farmer Backflip Bagel Grab. He accused Tony Hawk of stealing his moves, and he said that Tony Hawk stole the 900 from him. And he said, all right, fine, do a 900 and I'll let you into heaven. He says, how about I do a 950 and you keep the change? Shit cracks me up every time.
It's so funny. It's so damn funny.
It really is.
Especially because that would hurt real bad. A 950 is not enough of a rotation. It's just not.
Anything,
you're coming down hard, and you are fucking eating that ramp.
Yes, you are. Good times. Anyway, hi everyone. This is episode 554. It's the week of February 21st, 2025, and welcome. For anyone new here, this is the official podcast of StoneAgeGamer.com. Dan and I talk every week about what's happening in the world of video games from a retro gamer's perspective, as well as whatever the hell else is going on in our lives. But we're going to try things a little bit different this week. We're going to talk about what's going on in other people's lives. No, I'm just kidding. We always promote these things based on their feature topics, which is a part of the show, that Dan and I covered last, which means that we're usually tired, and in Dan's case, possibly drunk by that point. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to start giving our feature topics the royal treatment and put them at the top of the show, just to see how that goes. And then if that goes nice and smooth, we'll talk about what we've been doing in our lives at the end of the show when we're tired and when our brains are turning into mush. We don't have to concentrate on what we've been doing. It's all kind of working out. I don't know.
That's right. Yeah.
So with that being said, how are you doing, Dan? You doing good? You ready to do this thing?
Yeah, let's jump right in. I'm excited.
Feet first. Ass first. Ass to mouth. I don't know.
Eyes closed. Head first. Can't lose.
Full hearts. Full.
That's right.
Fridge. Yes. Can't eat.
Full fridge. Full stomach. Your mother. All right. So
Dan, this was your pick for the letter T. You picked the immortal Toei Hanks Pro Skater. One of my very favorite mispronunciations that I ever got at a video game store was when somebody asked for Toei Hanks Pro Skater.
Toei Hank?
Toei Hank. I don't even know how they got there. Most of these things I can figure it out.
Not even close.
I don't know how you get there. I don't know how you get to Toei Hank, but I'm into it. Good old Toei Hank. Take the reins. Jesus, take the wheel.
So the main reason that I picked this game is because you hadn't played it, which just seemed absurd to me. Because, dear God, was this just among the most ubiquitous video game experiences of a generation, arguably, right? Like, I remember, and we've told the story before, but for those of you who are new here, the original Tony Hawk, the original Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, released a demo first. And one of the most widely available places to get that demo was Pizza Hut. And I remember going to Pizza Hut, which, as we discussed last week, is a fucking crime for somebody who's grown up in New Jersey and had actual pizza. But I went
back in the day. It wasn't, because
that
back
still
in the day,
was.
It wasn't, because Pizza Hut's a different animal, and it was you get free coupons and stuff, and it was still good. It wasn't,
yes, I'm an asshole. Like, this is well established. I am a snob. I am a hipster. I am an asshole. This is like not news, right? So, but I broke down and I took my girlfriend at the time, she who must not be named. We went to, because that's how wild it was. There was only one before the wife, and that's how long ago. Today's my anniversary. I know we're not doing this part of the show, but like as we are recording Valentine, because I'm a basic ass bitch, this is my dating anniversary with my wife. Not our wedding anniversary, but our dating anniversary. And today, Kris, marks 20 fucking years that we have been officially together.
He means that literally, too.
Yes. Yeah, I said that today as we were having the sex. I was like, man, you'd think I'd be tired of this by now, but I'm not. It's still great.
His amazing. Mid-thrust, by the way.
Mid-thrust. That's right. As I pulled out, I was like, man, nope, this is still awesome. Let me check a few more times. And I'm spent. But that's how long ago this shit came out. Anyway, that's really not important to any of this story. Went to Pizza Hut, got the demo, went back to my house, and played the demo for the first Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, which was just the first competition level, all right, and had one song, had Jerry Was a Race Car Driver, and legit played that for almost 8 hours that day, because it was just so fucking good and so fun, and so it just felt so incredible to play. It was so precise, and the control was so perfect, and all of those things. And then Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 came out and added so many things to it, not the least of which is one of my favorite skateboarders of all time, Rodney Mullins, which is why the manual was added to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. And once that was added, it opened up the amount of tricks that you could do, and the linking and the comboing and all of those things. And the soundtrack is just so good. And when you were like, oh, I've never played it, it was, well, then you have to. Like, you just have to play this game. It is one of those, like, touchstone, like, pivotal moments in gaming that is so of its time. Like, it's not, I don't think if Tony Hawk's Pro Skater came out for the first time today, it would have become this kind of cultural fucking lightning rod like it was. But man, it's just a really good fucking game. And I'm so curious to hear your thoughts on it.
So, it's definitely a game for people who have a lot of time to spend on it. So I would disagree with your assessment that it wouldn't be popular if it came out for the first time today. I think it would be, just not with us, because this game requires, once it gets its hooks into you, it's like, all right, I'll just keep doing this until I'm just going to keep going. Just going to keep going.
One more level, one more time, one more try.
Exactly. This is a game for people who have time to play it. This is... all right, so I had a pretty interesting ride in the Tony Hawk 2 camp, because I started on 2. I didn't start on 1. Didn't go back and try to play through the first one before doing this one, and I did. I put in the work this time around. I really did. So as we heard on the show when we announced that we were going to do this episode, I picked up Tony Hawk 1 and 2 on Switch was on sale.
Right.
So I picked that up. But I wanted my first taste of it to be the original recipe. I wanted to do it on an original PlayStation, which I had access to. So I went ahead and picked up a copy of it from, actually Stone Age Gamer had one. They sold me for pretty cheap. So I got a original PS1 Tony Hawk's Tony Hank's Pro Skater. Sorry, Mr. Hank. Didn't mean to mispronounce your name there, buddy. I popped it in the old PlayStation, and I was completely lost. I felt, as I do with lots of games, just completely overwhelmed by my inability to do literally anything, because there's no in-game tutorial. And then I was like, all right, well, let's take a look at the instruction manual as we did in the olden days, in the before times. So I cracked open the instruction manual, and it's just like, yeah, you press this button and it does this thing, and you press this button, it does this thing, and this button does this thing, and then these two buttons do this thing, and this one rotates this way, and this one goes that way. And if you press these two buttons, then that'll turn into this thing. And if you want to do one of these things, you press this button at this time and hold it down, and then press another button to do the other thing, and then you can land. Make sure you're doing this thing with this thing plus that thing, and then you can do those things. And I said, I don't know what any of those things are. I don't know shit about skateboarding, so I've heard these words spoken aloud, but I do not know what they correlate to in humanity. So it was not connecting with my brain at all. I gave it a handful of tries on that first was the airport level, the one with the helicopter in it. I assume it's an airport because there's a helicopter there.
Airport Jace at the very least.
It's a thing with an aircraft.
It's called the hangar, I think, is the name of that level.
That works for me. That's probably way more accurate too than an airport. So I messed around with it for a while and kind of beat my head against the wall. I really enjoyed the music. So like the fact that I was beating my head against the wall wasn't bothering me very much, because I was like, well, what song is going to play this time?
Good.
It was always a good time. Always brought me some joy. So that was pretty fun. But I got nowhere. Absolutely nowhere in my first. I didn't check a single thing off of the checklist. Could not get a single one figured out. So the next time I played, I've been having this problem where I just don't have time for video games anymore. It's this going to the gym in the mornings thing has really messed with my schedule, which I can't stop now, which I'll talk more about later. If I have to choose between my health and other things, I'm going to have to choose my health. But generally speaking, it's been pretty difficult to find the time to do what we're doing.
Right.
Sorry, just the pop went off, and it was pretty decent, $30.
That's exciting.
Let's see here. So the next time I played it, I was like, all right, well, let's see if what was I talking about? The Switch version. Let's see if the Switch version has a tutorial, because I feel like if I could go through a tutorial, I could get a better handle on how this is supposed to work.
Right.
And I did. It did have a very thorough tutorial and a very fun to play tutorial. And it was very complicated, and it took me probably longer than it should have to get the hang of it, but I did get the hang of it. And by the end of the tutorial, I was like, all right, I feel like I know what I'm doing. I'm confident, dry and secure. I'm ready to go. But I'm not going to play it here. I played a little bit of that hangar level just because I was there. But I was like, all right, I'm going to stop now. I'm going to go back to the PlayStation one, because that's where I want to get that authentic experience. You know what I mean? So that's what I did. And unfortunately that was today. That's how little time I've been able to sink into this. I finally got back down to plugging in the PlayStation one again and getting to work. And by this point, I had forgotten what all of the buttons did. So I had a few more vague notions of things, but it didn't come swimming back to me as I had hoped it would. It was a little, still a tad on the confusing side. So I messed around with that for a few minutes, and then as I was enjoying myself with that, but not really getting anywhere, I was like, all right, well, you know what I'm going to do before I get to, I kind of have a handle on at least the way this game feels. One of the things I wanted to do was see how this worked elsewhere.
Right.
So the first thing I did was I booted up the Dreamcast version of the game. And the Dreamcast version is pretty nice. It works better than I expected it to with the Dreamcast controller. It actually felt perfectly natural on the Dreamcast controller. It's about as slow as far as load times are concerned, but it's a decent improvement visually. Like, it looked not gorgeous or anything, but it was definitely noticeably prettier than the PlayStation version.
Yeah.
Now, granted, the controls felt nice on the Dreamcast, but still not as nice as a DualShock on the PlayStation. Like, clearly this game was designed for that with that controller in mind.
Yeah.
And then I booted up the N64 version.
And was blown away by it being the very best.
I was shocked and amazed. And it's... All right, first off, it's lightning fast. I mean, you can be done playing the first level by the time the PlayStation 1 loads up the first level. Like, there are no load times, like, at all. There's none of those absurdly extravagant animated company logos in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because, like, those remember those days you'd turn on a game and it'd just go through, like, every company had some, like, really wacky, like, explosive, like,
just
Konami's
forever.
Logo is blowing up out of mountains.
What the fuck are you doing, guys? I don't care. I just don't care.
They knew they could, and they did, so none of that stuff's in the N64 version. There's also no blood, though, which I thought was very strange. Because, like, this isn't like a Nintendo censorship thing. This is the N64. We're past that. Super Nintendo had the version of Mortal Kombat 2. N64 had Shadow Man and fucking Conker's Bad Fur Day. This wasn't... I don't know why the blood's not there. It's just not there. It's so fucking weird. Also, the graphics are chunky. This being an N64 game, it has that N64 chunk factor going on. Sorry. Chunk factor. It's just a fun thing to say.
No, you're not wrong.
Like, trying to fit, like, Tony Chonk's Pro Skater or something. Like, trying to work that in together. Toei Hank's Pro Chonker.
Toei Hank's Pro Chonker. Yeah. 2.
Toei Hank's Chonk Skater. Well, I like Chonk Skater. That's good. Toei Hank's Chonk Skater. Yeah, I like it. But, it didn't look necessarily bad. It was just like, I can see the difference between PlayStation and N64 here. It ran pretty well. The music was obviously compressed, and I didn't play it long enough to find out how much less of it there was. I have to assume some songs were yoinked out, but, we've got some nice compressed audio coming out of an N64 cartridge. And the controls did not feel very good at all. Not that they weren't responsive, just that controller is not designed for this game.
How does it work on the 64? Like, is it the C buttons?
No, it's pretty much exactly like you'd expect. You're the analog stick. Then you've got your Z. Your Z button is your L. Your R button is your R. And then the 4. If I remember, I didn't really have a great handle on it. So, but your A and B buttons were basically your square and X, and then I think the left and down C buttons were your triangle and circle, and then the other two I don't think they did anything. Maybe they controlled the camera. Maybe I don't know, but it did. That
sounds like a fucking nightmare.
It's not that bad. I mean, it's still those buttons in that same basic format. It just didn't feel right. Like, I don't really know how else to explain it. It just didn't feel right. And especially with, like, the music working the way that it did. Like, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is a CD-based game. Like, that game's soul is in a PlayStation disc. The Dreamcast version is neat, and I'm glad it exists. But, like, and it still felt, pretty right. But it felt like a port of Tony Hawk, just like this was an N64 port of Tony Hawk. The game was on PlayStation. That's just, it was, even playing it for the first time now, just that inexplicable game feel made sense on the PlayStation. That's where I wanted to play it. So after those fun little experiments, I went back to the PlayStation game, and it's like, all right, I've got about another hour that I can put into this. So I'm just hammering away, and I finally, I don't know how it happened, but I was trying to get the wings, right? That was for some reason that was stuck in my craw. Like, that's the one that I want to get. I want to get the wings. And
okay.
Because I feel like I know where most of them are, and I think that I can do this. So I finally pieced together where they all were, and I could get 4 out of 5 of them. But the 5th one, I couldn't figure out how to get, because it was like the one that was between, I'm not good at terminology. I'm like moving my hands around here. There's like 2 rampy things that go straight up to the wall, but there's a gap in the middle. So you had to like hit the ramp with enough speed to go up, get the wings, and then land on the ramp next to you.
On the other side.
On the other side. And I just couldn't figure out how to get that speed. So one of the times that I was going after it, I started up the stage because I thought I could see I couldn't figure out where that was for a long time, because I thought I saw it when I started the level. But then as soon as I go forward, I got an S letter. And I was like, am I not seeing the right thing? I could have sworn that was wings, but it was the wings. The S is like kind of hidden behind the wings when you're first coming down that big ramp in the beginning. But on this trip, I went and I grabbed the S, and then I turned and I got the K, and then I saw the A, and I was like, oh shit, there's a pattern. Like, this is the skate letters aren't just randomly placed around the stage, because I thought they were just, here they are, they're randomly placed around the stage.
Find
like
them.
The wings or the barrels, go find them and figure out how to do it. But there was like a very clear path to spell out skate. And I was like, oh, okay. So I shifted my focus to doing that. After that run, I was like, all right, took me like another couple of runs, and I spelled skate. I was like, oh shit, finally crossed something off my list. I would cross with these stupid fucking barrels, because I know where they all are. I just haven't done that yet. So I knocked down the barrels. I took down the barrels, and that was fun. Gained a little bit more cash. And then from there, it just came down to when I was doing the skate run, I got a whole lot of speed, because I didn't realize those the ramp that's right. So you go down that ramp in the beginning, and then there's a jump, and then with a gap in the middle, and then another jump on the other side. But there are these like wires that are connecting it. I didn't realize you could grind on those.
Oh, yeah.
So I did that, and I got a bunch of speed, and I was like, I bet if I come at this from the other side, grind across that, and then land a trick and go up that, I could make the height to get those wings. And then I did that, and that's when it clicked. I was like, okay, I've now spent 50 minutes on this, and I understand. Okay, I understand now. I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep doing more runs, and I'm going to keep finding more things. And eventually, like right before I had to go walk the dog or something, like when my time was just about up, it was like, okay, now I can finally buy the next stage. And I tried the school stage out, and I
fucking love that stage.
I got a couple of the hall passes, and I was like, all right, I think I get this now. This is for somebody who has more time than me, because like that's what it just clicked to me that that's how this works. Like, you find a stage, and then you just keep hammering away until you figure out the routes on how to get to what you're getting. Like, I saw this hall pass floating on a balloon, and I was like, how the fuck do I get that? Oh, there's a table here. If I can get on top of this table, then I can jump from this table to that table, and then I can jump off that table and get the balloon and get the hall pass. And like, that's where I landed. Right.
And that's kind of what I was saying when a month ago, or whenever it was, 5 weeks, whatever, when I was talking about this game, right? This isn't a game like EA's Skate, which is a realistic skateboarding game. This is much more akin to Mike Tyson's Punch-Out than you know what I mean? Like, this is more like it's a puzzle game almost.
You had mentioned that
like
it didn't
a
make any sense to me at the
combo-based
time.
Puzzle game. Yeah.
But yeah, it's really just like figuring out how to like, you learn the rules of the game, and then you got to figure out how to get to that. But then there's also the whole, doing tricks to get points aspect, and that's where I was failing, because I don't understand what the buttons do enough to be able to reliably pull off tricks. I am constantly falling on my face in this game, which is how I noticed the lack of blood so quickly in N64, because it doesn't take me long to be bleeding all over myself in Tony Hawk. So yeah, I get it. I understand why this game never clicked with me when I was a kid either, because of the same reason it took so long for it to click with me this time around, because it doesn't make sense in my head. Like, it just doesn't connect naturally. I needed to make it get there. But once it did, then I was like, okay, I see why this is fun. I still feel completely lost while I'm playing because I don't have a grip on the controls and what they do. And like, I can tell that you can link these things together. I can tell that you can make these connections and maintain your speed, and doing those things is going to help me accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish. But because I'm not good enough to figure that shit out, it kept feeling frustrating, and I kept feeling like I just didn't have a grip on what I was supposed to be doing.
Right. Well, and like, it's wild too, that, because like, figuring out that skate, like, oh, there's a pattern here, like, you're 100% correct. And in later games, it was either missions or bonus things or like trophies or achievements or whatever the fuck. I don't exactly remember, but I do know at some point it gets to collect skate in one trick.
Oh God!
Like no, it's not skate. There's one. They add one. I think it's in 3 is where they add it, where it's combo, and it's the same thing. Like, you have to spell out combo, but you have to do it in one combo, and it involves jumps and grinds and all types of stuff to get to it. And like, the way it kind of forces you to learn to play it that way, like, then enables you to, because I do think later on, I seem to remember, and it might even be in that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, where like, it was like a trophy or something for getting skate in one trick as well. Because it's possible in most of the stuff that you can do in Tony Hawk is possible to do within that initial 2 minutes. Like, that whole checklist is doable in 2 minutes.
That is so completely foreign to me.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Well, but because I
get it, but I get it. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Once I figured out that there is a route that you can follow, like, oh, I see. If I learn the routes, then I could piece this together. I just don't have the time.
Well, and it's like, in that hangar level, for instance, right? Like, you go down and you get the S, and then you hit that first ramp over the half pipe, and you can grind on that rail over the half pipe to the other side of the ramp, go down, up the quarter pipe that's there, and I think the K is up when you vault off of that. And then when you come down, you go back the way that you came, but up above that half pipe, if you hit the ramp and double jump, like the double tap ollie that I told you about, like you up, and then let go of X, you'll launch off the ramp, and there's a secret room over top of that has the hidden tape. Because there's a hidden tape, like a skate tape, in every level.
I got the first hidden tape,
right,
which was super cool. That all right. What is the past tense of grind?
Grind. You didn't grinded. You kind of grinded, but like, yeah. It's weird. Yeah. You did
unacceptable. I am now using the word ground like coffee. So I ground.
No. You did a grind. I did a grind.
Negative. I groundenated across. I groundenated on the helicopter.
Yeah.
And then the helicopter took off, and I was like, well, fuck, if I knew the helicopter could leave, that would make a lot of other tricks easier to do. And then I found the secret room, and I got the fancy tape, and I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, like, it's so fun once you start to figure it out, and, like, you're linking tricks the entire time, and, like, I tried to play it, and couldn't. And it made me real sad.
Oh.
So... yeah, I tried, but because it's not that I couldn't play it. It's that I couldn't play it to the level that I am accustomed to playing through Tony Hawk. Because the reason that I know it's possible to clear all those things in 2 minutes is because that's usually how I do it. Right, is like when I started up, I'm like, oh, I'm just going to blitz through this real quick, bang all these out, and then get to the next level to open up some of my favorite levels to go free skate in them. Like the level you were saying, the school level in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 is one of my favorite levels to just skate around in. Like, and you didn't even probably realize that you can go into the gymnasium and you can trick off of the basketball. Yeah, you can trick off of the basketball hoops. It's right there to the left of those first tables.
I saw those I got to those tables, and I saw that balloon, and I was like, I'm going to do this. I did not do it. But I kept trying, getting closer and closer. I couldn't get onto it straight, and I kept falling off, and then not making the jump, and then, just followed by sadness and blood.
Oh, God, it's so fucking, like, once you get it, you're like, okay, I see how this works. Then once you actually get good at it, in my opinion, it is one of the most fun games that I've ever played. And that goes for like 1, 2, 3, 4, like up until like Underground was good. American Wasteland was pretty all right. Like once it got to Project 8, it was like, all right, we're kind of getting a little jank here, because like it got to a point where like, all right, well, I can get off the board and I can run around and I can do like, okay, it no longer was the 2 minute like spirit of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, this intense session kind of thing. It became something else.
It had that very arcade feel to it,
Yeah, it really, really does. And like I said, it makes sense that it's so of its time, thinking about like what else was super popular at the time. Crazy Taxi, that same kind of like just balls out, fast, fun, rockin' soundtrack, just fun fucking game.
Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoyed your time with it.
I very much did. I totally understand why my friends were able to get into this. Like the first time I ever played this, like I actually didn't play this one. That what I played was the first one. I played a demo of the first one, but it wasn't the one you're talking about because the song in the demo that I played at my friend Sean's house, the Sean Doyle,
right,
was Superman. Had Goldfinger Superman. Yeah. So
Mine was Jerry was a race car driver, and like I played that so much that I was no longer allowed to play any Primus songs in front of She Who Will Not Be Named, which made me real sad because I fucking love Primus. Which I think is like the least surprising fact that anyone could learn about me. Like, oh, you like Primus? Yeah, no, saw that coming.
Oh shit, water is wet, isn't it? Who knew?
Oh, it's so fucking good, man. It's so good.
I remember. No, go ahead.
I hope that you go and play the Switch version because it's such a better version of those two games.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely picked up on that. That's the way to play it. Like it was so much more. Besides having the what's it called, the tutorial, it was just so much more. Right. It was just a smooth experience. It just felt like it worked better.
It does,
and obviously it should. It's considerably more modern. There's
15 years later or whatever. Yeah,
you should be able to do this later. A bit a bit later by then.
And it just looks so nice, too. Like, it really does look good.
It was nice looking. I'm pretty happy about it. I hope to put a little bit more time into it. I can't say for sure how much because of how limited my time has been, but I will say that it's something that I'm going to hopefully not forget that I have. And
I get that.
Keep being able to go back to it when I want to do something for a little bit at a time. The problem being, like, it's the kind of game that you just want to spend a bunch of time on, and that's not
just one more run.
Yeah,
that's one more run turns into fucking 8 hours, man. It really does. And like, I think you really nailed it. Like, in that it is a very arcadey kind of experience because. You know, we're 20 years on from the release of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. And 20 years from now, that game will still be fun.
Exactly.
In the same way that Pac-Man will still be fun 20 years from now. You know, I don't know that necessarily in 20 years you're going to be like, you know, I can't wait to pick up Yakuza 4. Just for, you know, like, I got a couple minutes. I want to play Yakuza. You know, like it's just not that.
Jeez, Dan, taking a hardline stance, shitting all over Yakuza.
That's right. Fuck Yakuza. No, I just don't get it, and maybe I will. I'll
Is
download
it
that demo.
or Yakuza?
Yes. I'm not
What's
Japanese.
The past tense of Yakuza?
Grounded.
Groundenated. Got it.
Groundenated like a dragon pirate vacation, I think is the next one that's covered, whatever the fuck they said on the State of Play. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, American. I'm not going to boot up Sea of Thieves in 20 years and be like, oh, I can't wait to jump into this for 20 minutes. Like, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater will still be fucking fun. You know?
Yeah, because they really took that exact
evergreen kind of thing.
They took the perfect. They really hit the perfect balance between realism and fucking bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, that game is like, man, I don't know that I would agree with realism and bullshit. It's mostly bullshit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the perfect. That's the perfect mesh. Like, you know, you're a person. Gravity exists. You know, you fall. You'll get hurt, but then you immediately get back up, and there's bullshittery constantly.
Yeah,
you run into a wall and you're just all of a sudden going the other direction. Like, it's just fantastic.
Yeah. So fucking good, man. I am genuinely glad that you had a good time because, man, it's just one of those things where it just, because you're right on the like the PlayStation-ness of it. Like, it just is so much like, fuck, this is such a PlayStation game. This is why I have a PlayStation. Haha. Like, it just fucking feels that way. And the soundtrack is just incredible. Oh, man. Just riding around in that game. And, like, because I've got it right here, so I'm just going to run down it real quick. You've got Papa Roach, Anthrax, and Public Enemy doing Bring the Noise, which is, holy shit, is that fucking good. Rage Against the Machine, Naughty by Nature, Bad Religion, Power Man 5000, perhaps the greatest song in a video game ever, No Cigar by Melancholy. God damn, is that good. But then you've got Most Effin' Mad Skills, Dub Pistols, Lagwagon, Styles of Beyond, Consumed, fucking Fu Manchu, Black Planet Music, and Swingin' Utters. Like, come the fuck on, man. It's so good. That's such a good soundtrack.
Yeah, they nailed it with the soul of this game and its predecessor. They really nailed that vibe, and this was exactly the right game at exactly the right time.
It really was.
The general attitude of this game meshed the general attitude of PlayStation so much better than any other platform. You know, like it was.
Did.
I really don't know how else to explain it. There was just that you know, teenager video games are cool and for grown-ups now vibe, but also like they're still fun. So
yeah.
this is this is kind of that. You know what I mean? Like this was Skate or Die, but way better.
Yeah,
like
and
way
like,
better.
Like I'm looking on IGN right now, and the original review for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 is posted. It was written by David Smith, posted September 19th, 2000. And I just want to read you a couple of sentences from it because, man, does this capture exactly what you said. So the first paragraph ends with, so when I finally got my hands on the one-level demo of the game, I couldn't believe how much the game had been refined, realigned, and reinvigorated. It seriously kicked 31 flavors of ass. Now, the next paragraph. Well, now that I have finished it, I'm no longer confused because if I do my math right, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 now kicks at least 248 flavors of ass, and that's not even counting the levels you can make yourself in the skate park editor. And that is the most fucking, like, late 90s, late 2000 kicks 248 flavors of ass. Oh my God. And like what was always really wild to me too is that there were two other games that came out around this time. There was Top Skater and there was Vision Streetwear Street Skater, I think
Street
might
Skater.
have been the other one.
Street Skater.
Yeah.
I remember Street Skater.
And they were not good. They just weren't very good. And like it's so weird because at its core, Tony Hawk seems like such a simple thing. Like I hold X and I let go and then I just do some shit and it works. But it's so
I've never experienced that.
You will get there. But like it's the control in that game is so perfect. It just feels so good to play. Oh, I just fucking love it. I'm so upset that I cannot go upstairs and play it because my hands just won't allow it at the moment. And if I try to watch somebody else play it, I'll be like, you're fucking doing it wrong. You're ruining it. You know?
Yeah,
It'll just make me sad.
I think you would have hit me by the time you had
Oh,
finished.
100. But like, I feel bad because if I had been there with you, I feel like you would have gotten it in like 10 minutes. You know,
that
like
or I'd be unconscious.
One of the two, yeah, because I would fuck Kris. Or break your TV because I like threw a controller at it. I was so mad. What are you doing? You got a fucking manual after you hit the shit. What's wrong with you?
It's like you keep yelling those words. I don't know what they mean. The manual's over there. It's in the case. What do you want from me?
You got to do a manual after you hit the fucking nollie grind. What's wrong with you? The Groundenated. You did a 50-50 Groundenated around the fucking coping of the bowl, and now you got to pop up into a fucking hand plant and then drop back in. So, and those are all real things that I just said, and that doesn't help you.
It doesn't. I did almost kind of, if I think I know what the hand plant is, because I remembered the skateboarding half pipe game in California Games on Atari 2600. So like I kind of got the hang of that one pretty quick.
Yeah, you just like when you go up to the top of a ramp, you hold up and hit triangle when you get to the top of at the fucking coping, and he does the shit.
Yeah,
he does the hand plant,
and then he puts the skateboard back and he scoots away, and everything's okay.
Yeah, he scoots. That's man, you would have been a hit at the skate park.
Oh, for sure. I was so cool back in my youth.
What's up, man?
Was definitely
you doing a scoot? Let's fuck around. Jesus. Oh man, I have never hurt myself as bad as I have hurt myself skateboarding. Because the fucked up thing about skateboarding is that when the board stops, you don't.
You don't.
No. And like, I remember, dude, there was one time we were I was over at like my cousin's house and we used to go down. He lived in like this development that had a pool and some tennis courts and this nice like covered pavilion, right? And
it's my favorite kind of pavilion.
Oh, of course, it has to be covered. And in his development, you're not, I think probably I don't know, it's fucking Palatine Lakes. Somebody look it up. Palatine Lakes in Elmer, New Jersey. Nobody was allowed to pave their driveway. Everybody's driveway was rocks, right? So naturally, all of these little like red rocks that everybody had would get stuck in people's tires, or they would get kicked around. And, you know, like eventually this particular day made its way to the pavilion. Now, the pavilion was very smooth, very nice concrete, which meant it was very, very fast on your skateboard. And if you were going very, very fast on your skateboard and you happened to hit a big enough rock that stopped your momentum enough, the skateboard stopped, and stupid me, without a helmet or knee pads or anything, because I'm not a fucking pussy, was my attitude at the time, went just flying and hit this concrete so fucking hard. It was some of the most intense pain that I have ever felt in my entire life. Because, God, you just keep going. All that momentum, it doesn't stop you until you hit something hard enough to stop you, which is typically concrete or asphalt. Fuck, dude. That hurt. It's like, all right, I'm walking home. This sucks.
Yeah, I've always been way too much of a sissy to properly skateboard.
Good times. I wish I was. I do. Just pieces of me left around various rivers and dells throughout South Jersey of just like, you just fall and you do that fucking scrape down the asphalt where you're like, oh God, I can see the fat layer. Fuck. That's too deep. Son of a bitch. That really hurts.
My skin. I needed that.
It hurts.
That's what keeps the insides inside.
It does. It does. And none of us ever, like, we always had the tools to repair our skateboards, but never the tools to repair our bodies. And it's not like getting hurt was an uncommon occurrence when all of us would go about the place and skateboard. Did any of us ever bring anything to, like, bandage ourselves? No! We just let our jeans stick to our knees, because that's good enough.
You don't need Band-Aids. Blood clots, you know?
The blood dried the jean to the fucking knee skin that's kind of there still, and we're good. No problems.
10 out of 10.
No, fucking no good notes. Times. Good times had by all. It's a fucking blast. I love that game so much. I love that game.
Glad you picked it.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. I love that game so much that I bought the Dave Mirra Pro BMX and the Matt Hoffman Pro BMX and the Kelly Slater's Pro Surfer, and the fucking Dickbags Pro Wakeboarding, whatever the fuck that one was. That was great too. And they were all fun. They were all super fun. Matt Hoffman was more fun than Dave Mirra. But then you eventually got BMX XXX, and that was, boy, was that some shit. That was dumb. But like, the BMX games were really fun too, because it was just Tony Hawk on a bike. And it was like, yeah, that totally works. That makes sense. Good times. So, do we have any listener feedback?
Oh, yes. We do have
Thank God.
Some listener feedback here. Some of our listeners chimed in with some thoughts, some deep thoughts about Toey Hank.
By Jack Handy?
Deep thoughts by Jack Handy. All right, so over here...
That's how old we are.
Yeah, it is.
Jesus.
Groundenated says... The biggest achievement of this game, I think, is the way it got people who have never shown any interest in skateboarding, like me, to not only pay attention, but to enjoy a game about skateboarding. I still know next to nothing about skateboarding, but I poured tons of hours into this game back in the day and enjoyed the hell out of it. It also basically made Tony Hawk a household name. It's really one of those games that has such a huge cultural impact. Yeah. Well said, Groundenated.
Yeah.
Not too dissimilar from sentiments that we have shared on this very show.
That's right.
This very evening.
Well, and I think too, just to not to belabor the point, but I think it's also important to note there, like, not only did it make Tony Hawk a household name, but Tony Hawk was absolutely the right guy for it. Like, he had the right personality, the right sort of presence, you know, like, he was just cool enough while still being kind of a fucking goober to, like, you know, because imagine it had been like Bam Margera's Pro Skater, like it came out a couple years later. Like, that probably would have aged horribly. Because Bam has aged horribly, you know?
Tony Hawk was not this extreme dude. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, he's just like a good dude who happens to be a skateboarder. It's not his only defining characteristic. Yeah, anyway.
I concur. Let's see. Next up, Genix says, quote, "This is what it's like when worlds collide. I love this game so much. I was the weird one that played it on PC with a keyboard, and I got pretty damn good at it that way somehow. The soundtrack is iconic.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, seriously. I forgot that was even a thing. That's kind of amazing. Good job. The game was the one that really got me into extreme sports stuff. I remember watching the first X Games in '95 and really loving the skateboarding stuff, and then this series came along and I was hooked. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 brought in manuals, which made it way easier to chain huge flat ground trick combos for massive scores, which was awesome. The OG versions are spectacular and still worth playing, but they do show their age. Playing the recent THPS 1 and 2 remake is where it's at. You can add in features like the revert that they added in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, then chain together revert to manual and rack up million-point combos fairly easily after some practice. I still go back and play these games when I'm feeling down, and the nostalgia really helps cheer me up. I still think about riding around the bull ring level and running over the green cow pies to collect cash and just laughing my head off because poop. Good times.
It is good. It makes a fun noise when you go over it, too.
Well, I'm sure it does, and I'm sure all of that made sense to you.
Oh, yeah, 100%. That bull level is awesome. You get fucking hit by the bull in the middle of a combo. You motherfucker!
Let's see. Tiny Matt says, I remember playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 on N64, throwing on the moon physics code and just doing... There's a moon physics code?
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of weird, like, there's big head modes and, like, tiny skater shit. Like, there's a lot of really weird... I think the secret character in 2 is Spider-Man. I don't remember if that's 2 or 1. Spider-Man's in one of them, though, which is fucking incredible, by the way.
Yeah, I would agree. Spider-Man rules.
His, like, special trick is he flips the board and then web slings it back to himself. It's fucking great.
That's so awesome.
Fun. Yeah, it's awesome.
I remember that. Solid Snake was in one of them, or was that just Solid... That was just skateboarding and subsistence, right? That was a different thing?
Yeah.
Or was Solid Snake in a Tony Hawk game? All right.
No, Tony, no. God, it was the talk. I will look him up.
Let's see. What do we got here? Let's see. Moon physics mode and doing like 15 tricks off one ollie and a half pipe and getting a huge score in a single 2-minute run. I also remember not being able to get used to using the control stick instead of the D-pad in later versions of Pro Skater. It's probably why I stopped playing Tony Hawk games after 3, because I wasn't really interested in the open world light version that was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4.
Yes.
Agreed, yes.
Agreed. Yeah, like I said, like eventually it got to like, okay. This is a little weird.
Yeah, you know. They annualized it. They shouldn't have. This was
Activision.
This was Activision doing Activision stuff. This was, you know, when this game first came out, Activision wasn't the biggest third-party publisher on the planet. They weren't the pure, unadulterated evil that they became. And like,
right.
Tony Hawk would probably still be going far stronger now had they not annualized it. But they did. They made a new game every single year for ages until they've ground it into the ground. Instead of thinking long term, how do we make this last a long time? How do we make this something that is consistently going to make us money forever. They're like, no, fuck it. Every single year, we're going to make more and more money forever. And then as soon as it doesn't make more money, we're going to just throw it right down the toilet. Because that's Activision. Fuck that company.
All right, so real quick, some of the more notable fucking secret characters, Darth Maul was in one of them.
I remember that.
Doom Guy.
I don't remember that.
Gene Simmons, Iron Man, Jango Fett, Kelly Slater, where you then had the surfboard instead of a skateboard, which was pretty great. Wolverine is in one of them. The Hand is in it. Spider-Man, Shrek is apparently in one of them. Ollie the Magic Bum and the Neversoft Eyeball. There's 53 total unlockable skaters throughout all of the games. So I'm not going to go through all of them, but there's a ridiculous amount of shit.
Outstanding.
Spider-Man was great. Yeah.
The last one we got is from Ginger Scorch. It says, it's just a fun pick-em-play game. Very easy to get sucked into and very difficult to put down. I've played so much Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep. Yeah. And Spider-Man was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. You have to 100% the career mode with a created skater, and you will get him. So when you get to that, Kris...
That sounds like some shit I don't have time for.
But, like, here's the fucked up thing about Spider-Man in this game. Not only can you unlock Spider-Man, right? Because it was Neversoft and they did their amazing Spider-Man game and whatever. I agree, Hopper. This is how fucking excited I am about what I'm about to tell you. Hopper knows. He had 4 costumes. Okay? He had 4 costumes that you could unlock, right? Or that you could pick from. You had the regular red and blue Spider-Man. Then you had... Yeah.
My
no, goodness. I love that one too. Then you had a symbiote one. Then the spider armor. And then Captain fucking Universe. Like, that is a deep cut for a Spider-Man game, let alone a fucking Tony Hawk game.
Wow.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah. God damn it. All right, I'm going to stop talking about fucking Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. So what? Give me your scores. What do you got?
Oh,
we got
forgot
graphics.
All about this part of it. All right, let's see here.
How very dare you? We've got graphics, sound, control, and fun factor.
Hours. Where is my spreadsheet? Where is my spreadsheet? Nope, that's a trivia score sheet. That's definitely not it.
Nope, that's different.
Cartoon Express. Super Series. Boom. Found it. 10 out of 10.
Done.
Let's see. All right. So, Toei Hank. Post grader. Graphics. We're doing a 5-point scale, right?
Yes. The Game Pro scale. Yeah.
Graphics. I mean, I'm going to go 4.5.
Yeah, I was at a 4.
Yeah,
with
I
graphics.
don't know. Like, I can't give it a perfect score on graphics, but I do think this is this nails the look that it's going for about as good as one could expect. So yeah, I'm going 4.5 on graphics.
Okay, I'm gonna stick with 4, because there's a couple, like, some of it there's some questionable facial things that are like, that's not entirely, I mean, and it's not fair to judge it at the time, but I'm with a 4.
Fair enough. Sound, that's easy. That's a 10. But it's a 5.
Yeah. Not just the soundtrack, but the actual sound of the skating is so good too.
Thank you, Tommy Tallarico Studios.
That's right, baby.
He definitely did all that, and it wasn't Joey Kris.
Oh, 100%. No, it was 100% him. Tommy was out there fucking shredding, right, with a little, like, a fucking, like, Sony hand quarter, holding it down by the fucking wheels as he's grinding around on shit, as he's grounderating around. Yeah. No, it's a 50. It's so fucking good.
Yeah. Let's see. Control. I wasn't able to get a handle on the controls the way that you have been, so but I do recognize that the controls are very good, so that's going to get a straight 4 out of me.
That, for me, is a 5. To me, they are perfect. It's like a fucking...
Maybe you should marry him.
I was just going to say, it's like a creepy-ass sign in Love Actually. To me, you are perfect. Like, dude, that is fucking problematic what you're doing right now. I just want you to know. Rick.
Yeah, it's a pretty creepy scene when you really think about it. Like,
it
when you
really
first see it,
is.
it comes off as romantic, and then when you... Under the slightest scrutiny, it's like, actually...
Yeah, that whole movie... Under the slightest scrutiny falls apart.
Yeah,
I
really
fucking love that movie.
Oh, me too.
It's
a great movie.
love Actually. The fucking song that Bill fucking Nye sings.
Yeah, yep.
Oh my god. Justin, I bought the soundtrack on vinyl because it has that song. I was like, yep, this is worth $25 to me. Yeah. Anyway. To me, it's
and that just leaves fun factor, which I'm gonna go ahead and give a 4.5.
All right, I'm at a 5.
What about you?
Yeah, this is one of the most fun games I've ever played.
So this is an 18. My math is right.
I've got this at a 19, which makes it my highest scoring game so far.
I think this is my highest scoring game so far, tied with Life Force. Life Force also got an 18 out of me.
Yeah, you like that more than I did. Life Force.
It's a good game.
I feel bad because my top 9 are all me, and you sneak in at number 10. I feel kind of like a dick. But
well, I mean, not for nothing. I've been taking some swings.
You've been making some choices.
I'm not out. I'm not making my choices based on wins. I'm making my choices based on this should be interesting. This is something we should play.
Well, I mean, everything's a competition, Kris. So, what do you have next?
Well,
you have this somewhat unenviable letter here. I think.
Indeed, you do. You see now. I have a couple of really good choices to pull from for you
because, my initial thought is the NES classic Universal Soldier. I love that movie. I don't like that game, but I was a younger lad, and I got to see Angelina Jolie's boobs, and I was real excited by that fucking movie. It's sad.
Is there an NES version of Universal Soldier?
Isn't there? Or what fucking system is it on?
I mean, it's on Genesis, but it's...
okay. The Genesis one.
That game's Turrican 2. It fucking rules.
I know. Yeah. It's not... I don't enjoy the Genesis version, though. Because it's not Universal Soldier.
It's definitely not. It's not the best version of Turrican 2 either, but it's still Turrican 2, which is still a great fucking game.
I thought there was an NES one. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
I think there might have been a European one. No, there was a European Turrican, but I don't think Universal Soldier made it out on NES. Let's ask Moby Games. Universal Soldier. Genesis and Game Boy.
Huh.
Good old accolade.
I don't know. Yeah, good stuff.
Mm-hmm. So I had a game in mind that was somewhat similar to this, but I decided that I wanted to take... I felt like I wanted to take a more radical turn because I thought maybe picking something somewhat similar to Tony Hawk right after Tony Hawk might not be too kind to that game. Plus, it's doing two similar games in a row doesn't seem like something we should necessarily do.
Was that Uniracers?
It was indeed Uniracers, one of my favorites. Yeah.
I thought that's what you were going with. Yeah, that would have been my guess of like what game is Kris going to pick for you. Obviously, it's going to be Uniracers, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities as far as like, it's a game about going quick, doing tricks and landing them, and the whole using L and R buttons to make sure your wheel lands in the right direction so you don't wipe out. Like there are some very mechanical similarities between Tony Hawk and Uniracers. Maybe
but only
next
one
time.
Wheel.
It's true. Maybe next time. Instead for this, we're going to do my absolute favorite game that starts with the letter U, and one that I haven't played through in a long time. Which, I don't know, does that go against the rules of this thing? Are we supposed to pick games that we know?
I don't give a shit.
Excellent. In that
I
case,
just picked Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, a game that I just spent 45 minutes talking about and haven't played in years. It's fine.
My choice is UN Squadron.
Oh, shit. All right.
That is, without a doubt, my favorite shoot 'em up. I haven't played this game through to conclusion in a very, very long time, but it's one of my favorite Super NES soundtracks. I wouldn't mind putting a little bit more time into the arcade version, which is pretty different from the Super Nintendo version, which I think is vastly superior. But yeah, specifically the Super Nintendo version of UN Squadron is my pick for the letter U.
I am really, really hoping that I am able to play it. Because I like that game. I have not spent nearly enough time with that game because I feel like I'm going to love it once I do.
It's so fucking good.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking forward to this.
Fantastic. Do your best. I believe in you, Dan.
Good old fucking Capcom shooter. Yeah.
Unfortunately tied forever to an anime license, so it'll never get re-released ever, but
God, just fucking put different sprites in for you see them every now and again. Like there's such a not a big part of this fucking game. Just swap the sprites out.
Yeah.
Call it New Squadron. Just fuck it, whatever. New Squadron Wii.
You could still call it UN Squadron. It has nothing to do with Area 88, which is the fucking anime.
Yeah, no, I know. Just
do it, Capcom.
I'm fucking excited.
That's what I like to hear. All right. That means that is the end of the Super Series for this month, and we are going to take ourselves a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about what's going on at Stone Age Gamer and hit up some week-old news. You're listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from Geekade.com. Stick around. And now here's a quick look at what's new on the official Stone Age Gamer YouTube channel.
First up, this time in the Nintendo Report, we take a closer look at Nintendo's franchises that begin with the letter E and see just how they're doing these days. It's a strange one indeed, as many series that seem like no-brainers in terms of popularity, like Earthbound and Excitebike, are stuck without any new entries for decades, while the likes of Endless Ocean are flourishing like a fish in the ocean. Will we ever see Eternal Darkness again? What the heck is Ever Oasis? Find out in the Nintendo Report, Eternities, Excitebikes, and Electroplankton.
The only thing I like more than Eternities, Excitebikes, and Electroplankton is raccoons.
Yep.
So, our classic arcade games are all about twitch reflexes a lot of times. You see the action, you get in your Donkey Kong, and you're like, I gotta dodge these barrels, I gotta jump over stuff and find this monkey. You're playing Defender, and you're just like zippy-zapping left and right. They're all action-based. But what if you took an old-school arcade-style game, and you made it all about stealth? That is the premise behind Super Spy Raccoon, a fascinating new classic arcade style game from the fine folks at Flynn's Arcade, who were nice enough to give me a review code. You run around as a raccoon who has to not be seen while collecting secret documents that are scattered throughout the stages. It is an interesting game to say the least. I don't know that it was for me, but I did think it was very well made, and certainly an interesting pivot from the other more retro revival kind of games that we've been seeing, like Annalyn and Donut Dodo, etc. This is an interesting addition to that style of game. So you can learn all about what I thought of Super Spy Raccoon in Stone Age Game Reviews, Super Spy Raccoon.
Finally, flashcards. They're great. Who doesn't love getting flashed? Honestly.
Not me. Getting flashed right now.
Really? Awesome.
Well, Hopper's not wearing pants.
It's fair. I mean, that's what you're into.
Shit's pointless. I didn't say I was into it. I just I'm making an observation of what is pointing at me right now.
Just put your lipstick away, Hop. Anyway, flashing.
He's
right,
asleep.
Flashcards.
He's not making eye contact.
He's looking at you like, look, you know we both want this. It's not just a me thing. Let's be clear. I'm as uncomfortable with it as you are, but we gotta. It was in the contract you signed. Oh, and I would know because I wrote the contract. You would think I would have taken that part out, but I didn't. You would think Tiff would have caught it, but she didn't. Anyway, flashcards, they're great. You know what else is great, Chris? The Sega Genesis. I'm not even going to let you answer because you're going to say something filthy again. Naturally, a flashcard, right? Then for the Sega Genesis, which I assume is a version of the Genesis that I haven't heard of, would be a good idea, right? What if it was a Pro flashcard? Well, the Mega EverDrive Pro is that very thing. It's a flashcard that plays Genesis games on the Sega Genesis. Right. Genesis Games Master System. That's such a dickhead thing for me to do, too. Like, I know it's supposed to be Sega Genesis. I don't know.
You knew I was writing it while you were talking to me.
I know you were. But you wrote Shay. And I just, I had a friend named Shay in high school.
I didn't even write Shay. It probably autocorrected the Shay.
I mean, it didn't. It's okay. You wrote Shay. It's fine. I don't know why. The H and the E aren't anywhere near each other on the keyboard. It's fine. It's a flashcard that plays Genesis games, Master System games, 32X games, if you have a 32X, and Sega CD. And this is actually, I think, the coolest part of this thing. Sega CD games without the need for a fucking Sega CD. That's outstanding. You can, obviously you have your legally obtained ROMs from the CDs that you ripped, but you don't need your Sega CD to plug it in, so you don't have to have the tower of power. You can learn the basics if you watch our Mega EverDrive Pro overview, which you should in fact do on our YouTube channel.
For all this and more, be sure to check in with our YouTube channel, like Dan said, and follow us at stoneagegamer.com. Yes, sir. Okay, we're back. I say we're back. I have declared it so. We are back and better than ever. And it's time to talk about what's been going on at Stone Age Gamer. What is new at Stone Age Gamer this week? We have kicked off another giveaway. We are giving away a Mega EverDrive Pro, which we just did the overview video on. Just go to stoneagegamer.com/enter to win. I think there's dashes in there. Let me make sure that I'm not a crazy person. Yes, enter-to-win, and you can enter for free, no purchase necessary, to win a Mega EverDrive Pro, which is a pretty snazzy prize, if I do say so myself.
That is outstanding.
Yeah, that's pretty much all it's been cooking. I mean, they're working their way through Vengeance Hunter's pre-orders right now, but all in all, it's all about that giveaway and really just general administrative stuff. Nothing to write home about, which means it is time for my favorite segment. For your favorite segment, everybody's favorite segment, strap yourselves in for Week Old News. Welcome to Week Old News, where we talk about all the news that was new a week ago. First things first, and last things last. First thing is PSN Downtime raises fresh questions about PS5's future functionality. Reasons to be concerned. This comes to us from pushsquare.com. Pushsquare is talking about there was a big, I think it was actually while we were recording last week,
It was,
yeah.
and went on for quite a while.
Yeah. The thing that really bothered people was that if you had one of the disk drives, like the external disk drives, it couldn't connect to PSN, and therefore it wouldn't read your physical games. Like,
right, which is a fucking problem.
Yeah, you can't play your physical owned library without connecting to PSN, which is not okay.
No,
I mean, clearly it is, because no one's going to do anything about it. It's PlayStation. They're like, well, what are you going to do? Not buy PlayStation games? I don't fucking think so. You'll take what we give you and you'll like it. But
it is hot bullshit, though.
Yeah, it's a big old steamy bowl of it. That didn't make me very happy at all. It made me pretty glad that... So, I don't know, did this also mean... Was it just with the people that had the detachable disk drive, or... Okay.
Perfectly honest with you, I have no idea. I did not try to play anything just because I knew it was down. And so much of what I have is digital. I was like, it doesn't even matter. I'm not even going to fuck with it, you know? I do know one of the things that I've seen a lot of people being pissed off about, though, is that as most companies do when things like this happen, Sony has been like, oh, well, here's some compensation to shut you the fuck up. And their compensation that they offered is like a couple extra days of PSN. To where a lot of people responded with, no, see, I don't have PlayStation Network. I couldn't play my physical games, giving me a couple of free games for the thing that I don't have, or free days for the thing I don't have, isn't any kind of fucking compensation. You know? And so far, there has been nothing else said about that.
Okay, so to clarify, any disk drive that was connected, was already paired to a system, was just fine. It was, you weren't able to pair a new disk drive while PSN was down. So the concern was, in the future, when PSN is no longer connected to PlayStation 5, if you have one of those detachable disk drives, it's garbage. It's completely worthless because you won't be able to pair it to your system without PSN. And if PSN is no longer functional with PS5 in the distant future, then it's useless.
Once they sunset the system and stop support for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
which
I don't like that.
That sucks. Like, not being able, getting into a place where you cannot play your physically purchased games is not a fucking good road for any of us to go down.
That is a bad look right there. Even if it is even in as limited capacity as this, it still sucks. Like, I hate that my digital games can't be played by John on his Switch, even though he is on my family account, and I can download the games on his Switch, and he can play them under my account, but he can't play those games under his account, is fucking bullshit. But if I grab any of my cartridges and put them in his Switch, he can play them just fine. That is...
Exactly.
Then that's how it should be. But... that's not where we are, and I don't like it. I don't like this. This all-digital future is certainly potentially not great.
It's not. And, like, I understand where it comes from companies. The fear of piracy is huge, right? As it should be, honestly. Like, it definitely should be a major concern for all of these companies. But there's a way to do it that is not so Lars Ulrich reacting to Napster still. Like, all right, dude, we get it. There were Metallica songs on there. All right. Fuck, man. Calm down.
Like,
try to upload the new Limp Bizkit record. Fuck off.
They weren't going to get the Metallica songs. Like,
Yeah,
really?
No, I know.
Stop it. Stop. You're just being silly. You're just being silly, sir.
I'm here on LimeWire. I'm trying to download porn. Please leave me alone, Lars Ulrich. You're an average drummer at best. I said it.
Damn.
I stand by it. I said what
Shots
I said.
fired.
Yeah.
It's over here talking trash about Yakuza games, and now Lars Ulrich. Like, man, Dan's
That's
dropping
right.
the bombs tonight.
Take me out to dinner and stuff me full of Lebanese food and watch what happens.
Nintendo Life reports on the opposite side of Sony. Sony does what Nintendo don't by removing a bunch of eSlop titles. This is
Yep.
this is nice. So various specifically the PlayStation Store and the Switch eShop have been just overrun with garbage. Just
Bullshit.
AI generated asset flip nonsense garbage games just flooding the stores. And it's a problem because it's harming visibility for actual products. There needs to be curation on these shops. There just needs to be, and there isn't, because it's like, well, you get yourself the license and you can just, publish away, go to town. And I know it's not that simple. I do know it's not that simple, but it is simpler than it could be in terms of just dropping a bunch of garbage games. Like, having some degree of curation to these shops, I think, is extremely important, because you wind up in a situation like this is how the crash happened back in the 80s with Atari. There was no curation. It was just flooding the market with garbage games, and people lost faith in the industry. That's why cell phone games have the negative reputation that they have. Mobile games have a reputation for just being cheap garbage games, because the vast majority of them are. And so the good stuff gets lost in the shuffle. And we're seeing that now on both these stores. Well, Sony, according to True Trophies, the company has removed a whole bunch of titles from the PSN store, mostly from developer Random Spin Games. This comes after an extensive investigation from IGN, numerous complaints from developers, and our own coverage on the issue. Again, this is from Nintendo Life. So that's pretty cool. It's obviously hasn't solved the problem. There's still 35,000 alarm clocks and stuff, but it's nice to know that at least Sony is aware of it enough to be like, yeah, maybe this is detrimental to our everything.
Well, and the Sony storefront, it was never as bad as the eShop. The eShop is unfucking manageable.
It is the dregs of humanity. It is.
It's so bad.
It's fucking embarrassing.
It really is. Like, it's one of those things where, and those games go on sale, so they're featured in the sale things too. So you can't even
go on sale. They're perpetually on sale. They come out on sale and just stay there.
So you can't filter them out when there's Sony is currently doing the Planet of the Discounts sale, and there's no bullshit in it. I mean, there's bullshit in it, but you know what I mean? There's not that kind of bullshit in it.
Right.
Because those things just aren't there right now. Whereas on the eShop, it's I don't even know how to begin to look for something that I don't know I already want.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I can't just browse the eShop. It's just maddening.
It is brutal. There are some decent, bits of curation that happen in the on the eShop, but it's too few and far between. And again, if you you said, if you just want to search stuff, it's not plausible. It's not.
Yeah, I just want to look for something cool, and that's just not going to happen on the eShop.
Especially because the more things get added to the eShop, the slower the eShop gets.
And it's so slow.
It's already not a very super well designed thing. So the more
the titles aren't there. there's no title under the game. And sometimes I can't see what the title is because there's no title on the fucking picture. I don't even know what I'm looking at. Like, what is happening?
It's pretty bad storefront.
It really is. For a system that is selling as well as it is, especially in digital sales, because Switch is doing very well with digital sales. You know? It's kind of the whole portability thing of it. And, like, for the eShop to be that fucking bad, it's something that I really, really hope they fix. I would argue they don't need to, because the numbers prove that it is working, whatever the fuck it is.
Well, but also, I do think they need to, and I think I would like to hope that Nintendo's smart enough to realize how much they need to, because, yeah, the numbers are doing well now, but this does not bode well long term, which is something Nintendo has historically put a lot of emphasis in, is long-term stuff. If the eShop continues to be quite like this, like it is now, it's not going to stay good, and I would like to hope that they realize that.
Yeah. Well, because, I mean, you got to wonder, right? When the Switch 2 launches later this year, does it launch with everything that's in the eShop?
Yeah, that's
if it's backwards
big
compatible.
Question. I'm so curious what that eShop is going to look like, as just from a content perspective. Like, what's going to be there, and how are they going to delineate things? Like,
yeah, like if day one I get my Switch 2 and I open it up and I see nothing but alarm clocks and fucking hentai games. Like, I mean, I might buy one alarm clock and one hentai game because I'm curious, but I'm not buying all of them. You know, like, that's just, yeah, that's interesting.
Well, here's hoping they get a handle on it soon. Next story. Time extension reports after 5 years and 75,000 attempts, Punch-Out's Mike Tyson is knocked out in less than 2 minutes.
Get the fuck out of here. That's crazy.
I watched this run, and it is super cool. 1 minute 59.97.
Holy shit. Wow.
For the in-game clock, not like real time. So
yeah.
Yeah. The crazy in-game clock that runs 3 times faster than a real-world clock. Let's see. Tyson is the final character in the player fights in the game and is as fierce an opponent as his real-world counterpart, so much so that nobody had been able to defeat him in under 2 minutes until now. After 5 years and 75,000 attempts, speedrun Boffin Summoning Salt managed to TKO Tyson in 1.59.97, although it's worth noting the in-game clock, blah, 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 blah. Quote, "This is the greatest gaming achievement I've ever accomplished," says Summoning Salt. "The Mike Tyson fight requires an incredible amount of luck and execution. I hit all 21 frame-perfect punches, 1/60th of a second, hit 10 perfect dodges and ducks, and got luck that has somewhere around a 1 in 7,000 or 1 to 1 in 10,000 chance of occurring." If you haven't watched this, definitely give it a look. It's readily available on YouTube. Mike Tyson world record. It's so cool, especially if you're a big fan of Punch-Out. To just watching, I haven't watched Tyson speedruns in ages, and so just looking at the current techniques, just not really something I'd really considered, of like how often they duck, because that's something I never do when I play original Punch-Out. I never duck, but it's a big part of the speedrun strategy of just, apparently ducking is really good for certain situations. I don't get it, but the science of this game is just utterly fascinating to me, and I love that we're still getting records. We're still accomplishing new things.
It's a fucking brilliant game. It's up there as one of the most perfect games ever created.
It is marvelous.
And
love it.
that Tyson fight is
that's
hard.
That separates the men from the boys right there. That's some serious business.
I first beat Tyson, 4 years ago? Like during the pandemic, I finally sat down and was like, all right, I've never done this. I'm gonna fucking finally get this done.
Yeah,
like it took me that fucking long, man. It is a difficult fight. It's so good, though. God, what a game. What a game. Please,
Speaking
Nintendo.
of games,
please.
Oh my God, seriously.
More Punch-Out.
Like,
Fucking please.
what is the holdup? You proved with the last Punch-Out on Wii that all you really need to do is make more Punch-Out. It's really all you need to do.
It's a bunch of the same characters. Like, it's fine. It's fine. Just
The
do
only
more.
new invention that you need is some new characters, new moves, like new patterns. Like, just do that again. It was so good. Punch-Out for Wii was so good.
It really is. It really fucking is.
Moving right along. Go Nintendo reports. Atari reveals iRobot, a Jeff Minter reimagining of an arcade classic.
Yeah, so this is not based on the book or the movie
Correct.
There's two movies.
Yes. This is based on the old arcade game iRobot, which I don't know if classic's the right word. This isn't one of those games that you heard people talk about a whole lot. Like,
right.
It's a really important...
I don't know a ton about it, yeah.
It's a really important historical game. It's one of the earliest examples of a game with, like, polygonal graphics in it, which is cool. But it's also not something that, like... This doesn't get mentioned in the same breath as, like, Tempest and Defender and stuff. Like, this is... iRobot's a very interesting game, and this new reimagining of it looks super cool. Jeff Minter's an interesting cat, man. Like, he's I played through that whole Jeff Minter Llamasoft game that the Gold Master series, and I learned a lot about him, and it was a fascinating game. But like a lot of his games, I don't get. But
yeah, he's a weird dude.
Tempest 2000 is great, and this is coming out everywhere, man. This is the Xbox One, the Series, Switch, Steam, PS4 and 5, PSVR, and Atari VCS.
But no, Chris.
I love seeing...
They hate the VCS.
They see exactly. Ever since... This is, what, the second big game announcement for the VCS since that whole thing? We're like, look, we can't do this DLC. And everyone's like, no, you're liars. You're lying liars. And you hate the VCS and you hate us personally. And you're going to step on our cats.
That's right.
And like, no, we've got new games coming out. You're liars. You don't have
bunch of
shit.
bricks.
You're abandoning us. Like, here we go. We got Breakout last week and we got iRobot this week. Good stuff.
As an aside, I know the Will Smith movie gets a lot of deserved flack. But have you ever seen Will Smith's? It is Will Smith, right? I'm not making it up.
I think you're thinking of I Am Legend?
No, isn't he an iRobot too? Who the fuck's an iRobot?
Maybe.
Am I wrong? I might be crazy.
Nope, you're right. Will Smith.
I was. There are a couple of scenes that are pretty good. Like, there's a couple instances in that movie where Will Smith does a little bit more than Will Smith. And it's like, oh, all right, man, you can do it sometimes. That's cool.
Good for you. I don't know if I can't remember if I've seen that movie.
I mean,
I remember
it's
the
not good enough.
and everything.
Like, I'm not going to recommend that you go watch it, you know? Like, it's not that good. But, like, it is interesting to see every now and again when Will Smith does a little bit more than just be Will Smith. It's like, oh, there's something in there. You should do that more, Will. Who the fuck am I? You don't need to take career advice from me. However, you know, do more Nightmare on My Street. That's what I'm looking for.
Next up, a story for the ages here. Push Square says that Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater's Ape Escape mode is a PS5 and PC exclusive, but Xbox also has a mode of its own.
That's right.
We'll get to this in a minute, but they showed off some Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater business, and there's an Ape Escape mode, which looks weird. And
Snake versus monkey.
Yeah. Well, on the Xbox version, they're replacing the monkeys with Bomberman.
Yeah, that doesn't work as well. I don't think.
I don't know.
Like, watching those little Ape Escape dudes pop up is like, oh, this is fucking great. I'm still not doing it, but this is fucking great.
I kind of feel equally good about both of those. I think that's the absurdity is pretty spot on in both of those situations. I like it.
I am happy it's being included. I am, oh boy, excited is just an understatement for that game. That fucking trailer looks real good. Looks really good.
Sure looks snake-eaty.
It really does. That's all I want it to be. Just fucking do that thing. It was great. Fucking the end's weird eye popping out. So good. Fucking love it. We are the sons of the boss.
While you're all excited about that, I'm over here excited about popped up on Thomas K. Young's YouTube channel, a game called Be Brave Barb. This is
okay.
From the creator of Dadish. This looks like...
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Oh, my God.
I forgot.
Oh, my God. I'm so excited about this. It looks like Dadish and VVVVVV had a love child.
Yep.
Oh, my God. I'm so into this.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
The description. I must read the description. Be brave, Barb. Barb the cactus. Get it? Barb the cactus. Yeah, I get it. Has lost her positive affirmations. How will she get through the day? How will she face her fears? How will she defeat King Cloudy and his evil henchmen? I have no idea. Maybe you should play this gravity-bending platforming adventure and find out. An all-new platforming adventure from the creator of Dadish. Walk all over the walls. Ignore gravity. Who cares? Lots of positive affirmations to find. 100 levels. 5 bosses. Questionable therapy. Secrets to unlock. Controller support. Funky tunes. Rad graphics. Face your fears. Have a nice day. And there's
I love this guy.
A bit in the trailer where you see Barb talking to her therapist, and it says, I think your problem is overthinking. You should try underthinking. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
I love this guy. This guy's great.
Hard agree. I mean, we all know how much I love Dadish. That's not a surprise. Right. I'm just so happy to see. I like the 2-dimensional look of Dadish better than this, but I also thought the Dadish 3D look was really neat. And this is using those polygonal graphics. It's not a 3D game, which makes me happy because I didn't think Dadish worked as well in 3D. It was still fun, but the 2D Dadish was really where it's at. And this seems like a really fun middle ground. And I love seeing them try something new. As much as I'm happy to see more Dadish games in the world, I like the other weird characters that he comes up with. You know, I think Super Faust is hilarious. I think Volcano is neat, and I'm totally into this now too. So hooray for more Thomas K. Young games. Continues to bring me joy.
Yeah, he's a really a really interesting voice in this hobby that we all love.
He has certainly carved out his niche, and I love that. I just love that.
Is he kind of replacing what Atui was for you? Has he kind of fit like into that Atui shaped hole in your soul?
I think I like Dadish so much more than I've ever liked anything that Atui made. So, like, yes, but also no. Like, look, okay. I rather liked Mutant Mudds. I thought it was pretty darn cool. I fucking love the Dadish games. I've played through them multiple times. Like, that's
Mutant
just
Mudds
not something
is cool.
I do.
Zeo Drifter is okay. Like, it's cool.
I mean, Zeo Drifter's probably my favorite one of his, to be perfectly honest. But
it's not something you jump back into time and time again.
Yeah, I've played through it twice. With how many Metroidvanias are out there in the world now, it's not something that I feel a whole lot of need to go back to anymore.
Right.
Especially not with how unhappy I am with a TUI these days. So, yeah. All right, on to the big business here. which I'm gonna add, if you would like to take the lead on this, we had ourselves a surprise state of play.
We did.
Sony went and dropped a state of play on us, and it was a pretty interesting one. So, would you like to do the breakdown for us, or do you want me to take the lead here?
I mean, just tell me that I don't have the games pulled up. If you would like to just go down the list, we'll break it down.
I'm looking at Destructoid here. It says everything shown in the PlayStation State of Play. So I'm going to go ahead and trust that this is everything shown in State of Play, and not one of those like, this is everything, and we're going to skip a bunch of shit. So
this is everything we chose to write about.
I believe this kicked off with Monster Hunter Wilds.
It did,
which is very pretty.
It looks really great. It looks. I mean, Monster Hunter is what it is, right?
Is.
Like,
yes,
you hunt monsters, you craft shit, but it is a tried and true formula that they iterate on instead of innovate on, and that is perfectly okay for what Monster Hunter is.
Yeah. Hard to
This
agree.
looks awesome. This looks awesome. The only thing that I wish the Monster Hunter games had was local co-op. That is what I would, because I would love to sit here because my kids love the Monster Hunter world. They want to play the games, but I am not buying 3 copies of this game so that we can each play it on a separate system. It's just not a thing we're going to do, you know? So that bums me out. Other than that, love it.
Oh, I see we have 3 editions. Ugh, I hate this nonsense. We have the base game,
all the different,
deluxe pack, and there's standard edition, deluxe edition, and premium deluxe edition. Whatever. Keep it simple.
Yeah, I hate all that shit.
Yeah.
All
right, so good way to kick off.
Good start. Yep.
That's a very good start. Then we follow it up with probably my favorite thing in the showcase, Shinobi Art of Vengeance.
That looks so fucking good. It is a good year to be a Ninja fan.
Oh my god, it is. We're going to get Shinobi and Ninja Gaiden? Fuck yeah.
Yeah. And they both look awesome.
They do.
But
they both
different
look
enough.
Fucking great. And they're both done by like just the toppest of top tier indie studios. Like, we're talking about, the Streets of Rage 4, Wonder Boy, the Dragon's Trap team, and the fucking Blasphemous team. Like, you really could not ask for more out of this. This is fucking phenomenal.
Really awesome.
We originally saw this back when Sega was talking about the Sega's Back thing or whatever they did.
Yeah.
This was a year or so ago, I think.
Year or two? Yeah.
And we saw.
And they were like, "We're doing shit."
We saw this very briefly in that trailer. There was just like a snippet of it. I want to see if I could find that again. What the hell was that called? It wasn't Sega's Back.
Was it at E3 or was it at Game Awards? I don't remember when it was exactly. I think it was at a show though. Like, I don't think it was just a random like, "Hey, we put a thing on Twitter."
This was a year ago. I don't know that it was on one of the Game Awards. I think it was just something that they threw together and put out online. It starts off with like the power going out on these people, and then we see the new Jet Set Radio.
Yeah. Which is
followed
exciting.
by the Shinobi. That's where we see very briefly Shinobi. Just a couple of shots, and then it was followed by this new Golden Axe thing that we haven't heard anything from in a while. New Crazy Taxi. So yeah, I guess, alright, so it was Jet Set Radio, Shinobi, Golden Axe, Streets of Rage, and Crazy Taxi, and more, is what they said in the trailer here. So, I don't know, man. I want to see more. I want to see more from these other projects. I'm glad the Shinobi one, showed its face, but every single one of these things I'm interested in.
Give me more Golden Axe. I fucking love Golden Axe. It's so weird.
Give me more good Golden Axe. Give me more Crazy Taxi. I think the only thing in here that was like slightly concerning was the Streets of Rage is all 3D now, but the brief thing they showed off in that was sure as shit looked better than that Double Dragon game they're cooking up. But either way,
and they didn't they just renew or file new trademarks or something for like Skies of Arcadia
and Echo the Dolphin? Yeah,
Echo, yeah, I tried.
Yeah, that's right.
Nah, I fucking the Skies of Arcadia is dope as shit. Like Echo
Skies
can
of
get
Arcadia,
fucked.
people have been begging for that to come back for a long time.
That's such
now.
a cool game. It's so good. That GameCube version too. Man, that's good.
Never got into
Anyway.
that one. Always meant to, but never really made it there. But yes, this
In your free
Shinobi
time.
thing looks fantastic. I mean,
really does.
Lizard Cube has my business basically for life. I
Sure.
am so glad that they're doing Sega stuff. I would love for them to branch out beyond Sega, to be perfectly honest, because all their Sega stuff's been great. They did Wonder Boy, which was phenomenal. They did Streets of Rage,
Right.
which is phenomenal. They're doing Shinobi,
Right.
which I'm sure is going to be phenomenal. So where do they go next? Like,
Kid Icarus.
get the fuck out of Dodge.
I mean, that's the
Yes.
one, right? That's
I
the
would-
one you want.
Honestly, and I said this after Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap, my dream project of that for them is to do a remake of Super Mario Brothers 2.
See,
Because,
I was
like-
going to say a remake of Legend of Zelda 2.
I mean, yes, the Zelda 2
That's
remake
very
would be
similar.
super cool. But
But-
I think if that was the situation, I'd love to see them do. Yeah, I would love to see them do that too. But there's something we've seen Zelda in so many different art styles over the years. But there's something about a hand-drawn Mario platformer that's never
Yeah.
happened. The closest
Yeah.
we ever got was that Wario Land Shake It for Wii. Like,
Yeah.
the world of Subcon through the eyes of Lizard Cube is something that keeps me up at night. Like, I want
Yeah.
that so fucking bad. The
That would be
weirdness of
really,
the throwing
really
the
cool.
vegetables around and stuff. Like, just please,
Yeah.
please give it to me. But if they're gonna stick with Sega, Fantasy Zone, give me. I want Lizard Cube's take on fucking Fantasy Zone. That's what I want, because these guys are nuts.
Disagree 1,000%. As much as I love Fantasy Zone, I want to see Kid Chameleon or Comic Zone. That's who I want doing those.
Comic Zone is almost too good of a fit.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah, Comic Zone would
Fantasy
be
Zone
amazing
would
for
be
them.
incredible, and I love Fantasy Zone, and it's so weird and interesting, and it's just a very odd fucking thing.
That's why. See, like their art style is so phenomenal. Like, the way they handle art is so interesting and gorgeous. But it's always been, so far with these 3 games, they've applied it to games that don't already have this sensibility to them, visually speaking. Like, no Wonder Boy, Shinobi, or Streets of Rage really looked like this. Comic Zone wouldn't be a stretch for them. It would be a perfect fit, but it wouldn't be a stretch. Fantasy Zone also looks nothing like this, but I think that world would lend itself so well to their sensibilities and their ability to take the core concepts of these games, like they did with Streets of Rage 4 and what they appear to be doing with Shinobi, to take the core concept of Fantasy Zone and really expand on it, which nobody has properly done. That's why that's at the top of my list. That's why that sits at the top of my list.
I'd still argue Kid Chameleon.
You could. I'll take Echo the Dolphin over Kid Chameleon. Thank you very much.
Oh, how very dare you!
Following that up, we have Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. We've heard rumblings about this.
Yep,
I
I thought this looked awesome.
Yeah, the Sonic Racing games are good stuff.
They're really fun. Sonic Racing All-Stars Transformed, which is a shitty title. A great fucking racing game, though. Great racing game. This looked
I haven't
awesome.
spent a ton of time with these, but yeah, this is fun stuff, and I like that it's Sega in general and not just Sonic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. You get all the weird stuff. There's a Panzer Dragoon level in fucking All-Star Racing Transformed. Like, that's awesome.
This is Sega's Smash Brothers, basically.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah, me too. That's a good 3 games to start off the show.
Yeah. Followed up with Digimon Story?
Yeah?
I cannot believe Digimon is still a thing.
I don't know if it is or if this is like the attempt at a comeback.
No, it is.
Like
they haven't stopped making Digimon games, and every time they do, there is a very loud fan base that's just like, fuck yes, more fuck.
I mean, they just had the collab in Puzzle and Dragons that was like a huge moneymaker in Japan. So, yeah.
Absolutely
I mean, like,
blows my mind.
Yeah.
All right, here is Lost Soul Aside, an action game long in the making. I don't know anything about this one.
I don't remember it, so...
There's a girl, there's dragon-looking stuff, it's third-person action-y game.
Yeah, third-person girl with a sword.
Lots of anime nonsense, some dudes jumping really high, that guy's got a spear, there's a kabuki mask and some lasers, an impossible sword.
There is a very distinct genre that all of those kinds of games are fitting into right now. Hot chick, impossible sword, like you said, big flashy attacks kind of thing. Very Stellar Blade, which will come up in a couple minutes, sort of thing. Yeah, it's coming back a little bit. It's fine, if not forgettable, to me.
Was there Stellar Blade stuff?
I thought there was something for like a DLC, like an outfit or something.
Oh, I'm just looking ahead a little bit. I didn't see it, but I don't know. We'll see. Moving things right along here. We talked about the Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii demo coming this week.
Yeah, I'll check that out. Maybe that'll be the one. I don't know shit about those games. I know people love them. Yeah. It
Like
looks
a Dragon
wacky
is
as fuck.
Also crossing over with Dave the Diver, which is getting DLC all over the map. So okay,
yeah. I did not love Dave the Diver. I love the weirdness that Dave the Diver exists in. Like weird, weird fucking collabs and DLC, and it's just very strange. The game's just not for me. Which I know
still haven't
Dean
gone
has
back and
issues
probably
with.
tried it. Well, Dean just has issues.
But fuck Dean. Yeah. Kid's a prick.
Splitgate 2 Alpha. I don't know anything about that, and there isn't a trailer here in the...
That's the arena or team-based arena shooter, or not team-based, but arena first-person shooter with portals.
Huh. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Talk to me about WWE 2K25 The Island.
Could not give a shit less. Just could not. It looks to me, what I saw in that mode was just money.
Yeah,
buy
that
shit,
is what
buy
this
shit,
looks
buy
like.
shit. Yeah.
This game just does not look very good. How are we on the PlayStation 5 and you still can't make this look good? We've had games on the Dreamcast animate better than this.
And they don't have to. They don't have to. It's the same thing with the show. We all know how much I love the show. The graphics are virtually indistinguishable from PlayStation 3. Because they don't have to be. And that sucks. It's annoying. But
that's why we need competition.
Yeah, 100%. And the AEW game was not good. It fucking sucked. And that bums me out a lot. But it's just not a fun game. So, yeah, this looks like all of the microtransactions. And I'm not cool with that.
Borderlands 4 got a launch date. Split Fiction got a story trailer. Split Fiction still looks cool as hell.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that.
Directive 8020? What was this
that
one?
Looked cool, but I don't remember why.
Supermassive.
Oh, yeah. That's why. Yeah.
What do I know Supermassive from?
The Quarry, Until Dawn, all of those like choose your own adventure story movie games.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, but this looked like in space. So, yep.
Five Nights at Freddy's, Secret of the Mimic. The Midnight Walk. This is what I'm interested in. I've been seeing this
Midnight
around.
Walk looked really cool.
I'm
like all
interested
weirdly
in Darwin's
claymation.
Paradox. What is this?
The fucking Konami making a weird octopus. Tiff, we were all watching it, and she was like, "Is this a fucking dad or fucking Octodad prequel?"
Octodad.
I was like, I don't think so.
This looks really bizarre. But it's Konami trying to make a new game, and it looks pretty neat.
It does. It looks like old Konami, which
it looks like the
thing.
kind of game old Konami would make in the modern day, which is wild. Sorry,
yeah,
Darwin's
I definitely need
Paradox.
I need to see more of it because I just don't trust them a whole bunch right now.
Yeah, I
but
can't
I
say
want
like
to.
I didn't. You liked Skeletak more than I did.
Yeah, it was good.
Oh, so this is coming to Switch, right? This is PS5 Series and Switch. I wonder why it's not Switch 2. Like, you got to wonder about that at this point. Like, if this isn't hitting PS4 and Xbox One, it's just 5 and Series. Why Switch and not Switch 2? That's interesting. Maybe there's a Switch 2 one and they just haven't announced it.
And they're just not going to until the Switch 2 has a date. Like, until we get the official Switch. It would be weird, I guess, to be announcing game. Like, I don't know. It's kind of... It's weird, but it's not weird. Because, like, it's not like we don't know the Switch 2 is coming.
Yeah, like, it's been officially unveiled. But, well, here we are. I really thought we were going to start seeing a lot more game announcements, but nobody's really come out. So maybe everyone's holding off until April.
It's almost like the weird thing that WWE does all the time, where they pretend that certain wrestling companies don't exist. Where, like, they will talk about, like, CM Punk went back, he hadn't wrestled in WWE in 10 years, but he hadn't wrestled in 7 years. He spent 2.5 years, give or take, in AEW, and they're like, CM Punk's first match in 10 years. It's like, your audience isn't fucking stupid. You know, like, most people are aware, like, just say Switch 2. Your audience isn't stupid. It's okay. But, like, companies do weird shit sometimes.
All right. I just sent you the link to this. I need to run up to the bathroom, but I think you should keep talking about PlayStation games that I really don't have much to chime in on while I go run to the bathroom. So I'll be back.
All right,
you keep talking about PlayStation.
Let me pull this up. Let me see if I can make this happen for the next, I don't know, however long this is going to take.
I don't think I got a whole lot cooking, so I think I'll be in and out pretty quickly. But wish me luck.
Right,
I'll be back.
That's exciting. Insert diarrhea joke here. All right, let's see. We did Sonic, Digimon, yada da da da, Lost Soul Aside, Like a Dragon. All right, hold on. I'm scrolling. Oh fuck, that was way too fast. All right, so Kris kind of skipped right over the Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic. My kids, who are the resident FNAF people in the house, were kind of torn on this one, because this is taking the FNAF mythos and moving it in a new direction, which for me, like, I am excited that it's moving in a new direction. Not that this is something I want to play, but fuck Scott Cawthon. He's not good at making video games, and he's kind of a shit person. So I'm excited to see FNAF kind of grow past what he was doing, and I'm interested, at the very least, to see where it goes. The next thing they showed was the Midnight Walk, which is coming for PS5 and PSVR 2. This is a really cool-looking, like, horror game where everything looks like it's made out of clay, but does not animate like typical claymation, like you would think a claymation type thing would look. It just looks really cool and creepy, and there was a lot of melty stuff happening, as you can imagine, with a horror game. Then we got that Darwin's Paradox, which was cool. Warriors Abyss which shadow dropped that day, basically looks like, what if we took Vampire Survivors but made it Dynasty Warriors, which I guess is cool. I don't know. I've never personally been a big Dynasty Warriors fan, but I understand. I can see where this would work. I don't know how much this is. Let's find out together, because I'm sure all of you looked it up. But let me take a look here. I just rearranged the apps on my phone as well, so now I don't know where the fuck I put anything. But I tried to make it make sense, and it made sense while I was doing it, and now I'm struggling to find where the fuck I put the PlayStation app so I can find the damn thing. So I'm just going to search for it. So let's see if this is any more expensive than like $4.99. If it's any more expensive than Vampire Survivors, I think that is a big mistake. But we will find out. I just have to sign into the PlayStation app. Hold, please. Okay, verify, signing in. Have to have your two-factor authorization on. All right, so this was Warriors. Okay, so Warriors Abyss. All right, here's the problem with it. It's $25. Buy Vampire Survivor instead. Anyway, then they showed off the remake of Onimusha 2, which looks fucking awesome. This will be the first time that will be coming out since its original release way back in the day. This is only coming out for PS4, though. There isn't a native PS5 version of this, which further begs the question of why we have a PS5 Pro if we still have games that are only releasing on PS4. Very similar to the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. Whatever. That's a podcast for another podcast. But this looks really cool. It will be coming out May 23rd of this year. They followed that up with a story reveal for Onimusha Way of the Sword, which comes out next year. It looks fucking incredible. They then followed that up with the Snake Eater, Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater release date trailer, which is August 28th, 2025. Looks just unbelievable. I am so over the moon for that game. So that was 3 big hits right there. They followed that up with Hell Is Us, another game that looks really cool. I don't know at all what is happening in this game, but it looks really cool. Looks like a really dark, interesting kind of story. That's hitting September 4th of this year. Then there was DLC or an expansion pack announced for Lies of P. Lies of P Overture, which looks really awesome as well. I still need to get Lies of P, because that game, man, I love the demo of it, but I just never picked it up. I will get it at some point, but this Lies of P Overture is hitting at some point this summer, which is pretty cool. Then we got this really interesting Dreams of Another, which is a game where you use a gun to create things in the world. It's like creation through destruction. It seems like a very deep kind of meta thing. It looks pretty interesting. It is done by Pixel Junk, which I haven't seen them do anything really, really big in a while. This looked pretty cool, though. Then we got kind of a surprise. The Days Gone Remastered. So not a sequel like a lot of people have been hoping for the Ben Studio game, but Days Gone Remastered. What's nice about this, as Sony has done a lot with their remasters and stuff, if you own the original version of the game, it is like a $10 upgrade fee. And that is hitting along with a standalone DC, the Broken Road DLC. That's hitting on April 25th of this year. Then they announced a collab Stellar Blade cross Goddess of Victory Nike. I don't remember what the fuck they said. But that's hitting PS5 and PC in June. I know we're all very excited about Stellar Blade because it's just super sexy. They then showed off an interesting looking game called Blueprints. Just a weird, there's like this like big mansion kind of house manor castle fucking thing that you're exploring, and it's got 45 rooms in it, and like this was kind of how they sold it, like 45 rooms that are always changing, and every time you like solve a puzzle one place, it changes something somewhere else. I don't know, it looked kind of, I don't know, it looked okay. It looked a little too, I'm still a little too like punch drunk for me personally, from like everything I've gone through over the last couple of months. This looked a little too in-depth for me, but it could be something that's really, really cool. They then showed a game with a really weird title called Abiotic Factory. It is a PC crafting horror survival thing. It's team-based. Looks fine. Not for me. Then they showed off Tides of Annihilation, which looked like another game in the hot chick, big hair, impossible sword 3D action genre that is super popular. It looks cool. It looked great as far as graphics and all of that are concerned, which would be weird if it didn't at this point. I don't know that it's going to do anything to separate itself from the pack. They then showed off Metal Eden, which I do not remember at all, which is whatever. That's more me than that, I think. They showed another one, Mind's Eye, which was like another shooter that looked fine. But then they closed the show with a really, really, I think, huge announcement. The new game from House Marquee, which is called Saros, S-A-R-O-S. And this looks very much to be a spiritual successor to Returnal, which is an awesome game. Just House Marquee makes really, really good games that play really well, look really good. The stories are always interesting in what they're doing. And this looked like the way the trailer said it, every time the sun dies, like you get stronger. So this is going to follow in that vein of Returnal, where you're going to, in that roguelike kind of idea, you're going to expect to die a lot and build up your character and build up your strength and all of that. But it also looked to be pulling somewhat from like Indian mythology as well. Regardless, it's House Marquee, so I'm interested. I'm in. They have the pedigree that like this is a good studio that makes good games. And this was the big reveal at the end of the show. You know, there were rumors of a God of War Greece collection or the Wolverine release date or whatever, but instead they went with this, which should tell you just how much Sony is putting into this. And it looks great. It just looks really, really cool. So it's not coming out until 2026, unfortunately, but something to be excited about.
Honestly,
how is that for
more
timing,
than anything?
Chris?
That was phenomenal. But now I want God of War Greece, as in like John Travolta.
I thought you were just talking about like grease to like cook bacon in.
No.
You know, like just
I want to play as Kratos, hacking and slashing through the Grease universe.
Motherfuckers are trying to drag race. Kratos just comes out with fucking blades of chaos, slicing,
just tearing them to shreds. Oh my god!
Did you watch the trailer for that Saros?
No, I'm actually like flipping through it right now.
Oh man, I think it looks really fucking cool.
It's certainly pretty. Big old black hole, some creepy looking hands. Yep. All right. Neat.
Yeah, I mean it really looks like Returnal, but like pulling from some Indian mythology. And that's really cool. There's a lot of interesting, just from like a visual design standpoint.
Right.
You know, I say it like the one big like fucking shadowy reveal that happens in the trailer looks very much like Vishnu. You know, he's got like all the crazy hands and shit.
Yeah.
And maybe this is me just being like a dumb white guy, but like the lead actor that is in the game is Indian and it looks kind of Vishnu-esque. So I'm like, maybe that's where we're pulling from. Maybe not. I don't fucking know. They certainly didn't say, but Returnal was so good and so fun. And just such an interesting story, the way that it was done. That this just, like, yeah, I'm in.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I find it interesting when we do these like kind of breakdowns of like State of Play or Nintendo Directs or the Xbox Directs or whatever, because you and I could not be any further apart on things we're excited about, except for like those few things where the both of us are like, fucking Ninja Gaiden, oh my god.
Yeah.
You know, but then we just split right back into very, very opposite sides of the gaming spectrum for a lot of stuff. And that's just, I find that fun and interesting.
Yeah, because like it looks neat. It doesn't really do anything for me, which is wild because like you'd think it would, but I just think it looks like another video game.
Yeah, like to me, like it's kind of the way I feel about the Impossible Sword sexy chick games right now. Mm-hmm. Like they all just kind of look the same.
And
to me,
that's the thing about where gaming is right now. It's so different for everybody. It's gotten so big that there's entire subsects of people that only play certain types of games or that are excited about certain types of games and that other people just don't necessarily care about. And a lot of big realistic looking modern games they're just not my jam. But that's okay because there's plenty for everybody. There's plenty to go around.
Yeah, there really is. Also, I would like to point out that as we are recording here on Valentine's Day 2025, not only is it the 20th anniversary of my wife and I dating, but it is also the 6th anniversary of the Silk Song announcement.
Fucking hell.
6 years, Kris. With like it just show something.
Or do an interview and tell us what's going on.
Something.
Tell
like,
us
come on,
why
man.
it's taken so long. Like, it really, you don't... you're not, like, ruining anything. Like, Nintendo with Metroid Prime 4 was just like, shit sucked. We need to start over again. It's gonna be a while.
Sure.
And we're like, okay, that sucks, but you know what? You said a thing, and we understand it, and here we are.
But, like, Team Cherry, not to put too fine a fucking point on it, but, like, you guys made one game. And it's a really good game. Hollow Knight is fucking awesome. But you don't have the pedigree to sit there and just not fucking say shit to anybody.
What's keeping that studio going, too? Like, I'm so curious.
I don't know. What is happening? You Australian fucks. Did one of you get eaten by a fucking, I don't know, crazy spider like you have in Australia? It's possible. The game's taking forever because a spider has eaten half our staff. Like, all right, that tracks. You're in Australia. Got it.
You just tell us. Just tell us.
Just something. I mean, because, like, it was such a fucked up thing that it was in the Xbox reveal, and they were like, every game we're showing is coming out this year, or, like, this fiscal year, however the fuck they phrased it. And they're like, well, there it is. There's Silksong. Nope. That was, like, 2 years ago. And we didn't even say anything about that. We just, like, let it go.
What else can we do?
You want to see a fucking Like, you think the Atari fan base is bad? You should, just for shits and giggles, when you have a minute, on the toilet or whatever, pop over to the Silk Song Reddit and, like, you want to see some fucking entitled titty babies. Like, I think they should say something because I am concerned and all of those things. But, man, oh boy, that subreddit is violent. It's a fucking scary place currently.
I'm good. I'm good.
But what's interesting to me about it is that that's not what you want to do to your most ardent and supportive fans
That
have been
true.
Contributing to this subreddit for years at this point, and now they're angry. Like, the amount of people on that subreddit that started it as a joke of drawing a Hollow Knight character every day until Silksong releases, they're out of characters to draw. You know, like, shit like that. Like, people stopped halfway through because they got bored. Because it's been years. It's just a really weird... It's a weird way that they're handling it, I think, is more of the commentary here.
Yeah, I hard agree. I don't understand the need for this degree of secrecy. Like, you don't even have to tell us anything about the game. Just, like, give an update on, like, just something. You know what I mean? Like, it strikes me as odd.
Yeah, like, the last update they provided was that this turned into a way bigger thing than we thought it was going to. And that was 6 years ago when they announced the game, because they said it was originally going to be DLC for Hollow Knight. Well, 6 years ago it was bigger. Like, is this Grand Theft Auto 6 levels of, like, what the fuck are you doing? It's so weird, man. It's so weird. That being said, I'm still going to buy it day one.
Oh, God, me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Silksong comes
not
out.
Even a question. Yeah.
I hope by that point it's just Hollow Knight 2.
Right? Maybe? I don't know.
If it still comes out as DLC, I'm going to be like, what the fuck? It's a 2-hour DLC pack.
I hope it does.
What is it?
I hope it comes out as a 2-hour DLC pack for Dave the Diver. Like, oh, Dave got us again.
All right. Well, that wraps things up for week old news and for this second segment. We're going to take ourselves a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about what we've been up to and the games we've been playing. You're listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from geekade.com. Stick around. Hi, everyone. Kris here. Podcast listening is free, but podcast creation is not. That's why the Geekade Patreon exists. In an effort to help us pay the bills, we've got a Patreon page set up where you can gain access to our monthly podcast topic schedule, get early access to many of our shows, and more. If you'd like to help support Geekade and keep these shows running week after week, head over to the Geekade Patreon page, linked in the show notes of this very podcast.
We are Safe at Home, the leading dog rescue in the heart of New Jersey. Are you searching for a loyal companion, a dog that will bring love and joy to your home? Look no further than Safe at Home. At Safe at Home, we believe in giving every dog a second chance. We rescue, rehabilitate, and find loving forever homes for dogs in need, right here in the Garden State. Our dogs are ready to make a lasting impact on your life. Each one has a unique story, a wagging tail, and an incredible capacity for love. When you adopt from Safe at Home, you're not just gaining a pet, you're becoming a part of our family. Our dedicated team ensures a seamless adoption process, providing ongoing support and guidance. With New Jersey's beautiful parks, beaches, and trails, you and your new furry friend will have endless opportunities for adventures and cherished memories. Safe at Home relies on the support of compassionate individuals like you. Your donations and volunteer work enable us to continue saving lives and finding forever homes for these amazing dogs. Join us in creating a safer, happier community for dogs in New Jersey. Together we can make a difference and give every dog the chance to feel safe at home. Visit our website or call us now to learn about how you can be a part of the Safe at Home mission. Safe at Home, because every dog deserves to be loved and protected. www.safeathomerescue.org.
When you hear the words cross-stitch, you probably think of a grandma lovingly making a Christmas stocking, a picture of a lighthouse, or maybe a Bible verse with flowers. But that's not what we do at Shoot the Moon Stitches. We take the old-fashioned art of cross-stitch and pair it with contemporary themes and imagery to create striking works of art that make the perfect gift for anyone who grew up with the internet and has a wicked sense of humor and an appreciation for pop culture. From cult favorite TV shows and movies, to retro video games, to TikTok trends, if it's made you smile, chances are we've stitched it. You can shop our selection of art and gifts by going to Etsy.com and searching Shoot the Moon Stitches. For all your fun, feminist, fandom fiber art needs, visit Shoot the Moon Stitches.
Hey, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Andy. Neither of us are David Crane, but we are the hosts of David Crane's Amazing Movie Time.
That's our monthly Geekade Patreon-exclusive podcast that covers movies that are cult classics, weird, or just sometimes laughably bad.
We ourselves have at least two of those qualities, so I guess it makes sense to hear what we think of those movies in retrospect.
You can hear all that and more by becoming a Geekade Patreon supporter.
And, as always, be kind, rewind.
All right, everybody, we're back. We're going to talk about what's been going on. Do our usual top of the show thing at the bottom of the show. Switch things up. So what's new and exciting in the world of Dan? How you been doing?
I'm all right. You know, it's okay. My car's doing a weird thing that is beyond my expertise to repair. So I'm not happy about that. I am when we record next week, I should be able to give an update on what my PET scan has said. Thankfully, this one is only going to my knees. However, this is head to knees, so not all the way down to my ankles. And, you know, I've got these long dancer's legs, so that should cut out a decent amount of time. And this lady that I spoke to on the phone also did not find my vodka joke funny. I find it funny every time, because when you're going to get the PET scan, they tell you the same thing every time. You have to eat a low-carb diet the day before. Yes, I am aware. You have to wear loose, comfortable-fitting clothes with no metal. Yes, I am just going to wear a sock. I understand, lady. I am on the way. I will cover up my cash and prizes with a sock, and won't the rest of you be so damn lucky? You know, and you can't have anything to eat or drink for 6 hours before the PET scan, which is at 2:00 in the afternoon. So I can eat up until like 7. So I'm going to get up early and have a big fucking breakfast. But they're like, you can't eat anything for 6 hours before the PET scan except clear liquids. And I was like, all right, cool. And for like the third or fourth time now with the third or fourth different person, I've been like, I'm just going to drink a bunch of vodka then, because that is a clear liquid. And they don't find it nearly as funny as I do. And she was like, no, you can't do that. And I was like, no, I know. I was kidding. It was the joke. I don't like vodka. It's gross. But at this point, at this time next week, I will not have met with my oncologist, but I should have the report back, and I can read. So the last report that I got after the 4 weeks of chemo showed significant reduction in all of the tumor growth and all of those things, with some areas going away completely. And I then obviously had another 8 cycles after that. So theoretically, this is going to come back clean. My oncologist felt really good about where all of my numbers were and all of those things. I was kind of bummed that we didn't do it after the 8th cycle like we had originally planned, but he was feeling so confident about it which is, again, not a thing that doctors really fuck around with, especially not when it comes to cancer. Of like, yeah, you're good, I think. Like, that's not really the way that they handle it. So I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to be upbeat and optimistic about it. Because, again, it really doesn't change anything one way or another. Whether I have to go back and get more treatments or I get a clear scan, it's okay either way. Am I going to be disappointed? Obviously, if I have to go back and get more treatment, I don't want to. It's not fun. I've enjoyed the last month or so of feeling better. I still don't feel good, right? Like, my hand is still super fucked up. And we haven't started doing anything to even try and remedy that situation, because if it turns out next week that I have to start chemo again, then there was no point in doing any of that. It was just, I'm just going to undo it again with the medicine. I'm still really weak. My muscles still really hurt. My hair hasn't started growing back yet, which is all of that is expected. The oncologist doctor said it could take, up to 3 months for my hair to even start growing back, which, like, okay, that sucks. But, like, okay, it is, I know that there's a time there, and it could take 6 months to a year before you feel physically, emotionally, mentally like yourself again, which, again, makes perfect sense considering the harshness of the treatment that I just went through, and it's kind of bold to assume that I'm going to go from stage 4 cancer to all clear with no hiccups in between. Like, that's kind of a bold assumption to make. Certainly not impossible. And I do respond to medication very well. But, that's kind of where we are. So I'm just kind of back in this weird funk that I was in, like, funk isn't the right word, but just this weird mental in-between place that I was in 8 months ago of, like, I know it's cancer. What type of cancer is it? Now we're in the, I know what type of cancer it is. Is it all gone, or is there a next step? And it's just a shitty place to be in.
Yeah, that sucks. I mean, this whole cancer trip sucks. That doesn't suck that you're alive and mostly well, but... Oh, no. Well, and, like, that was one of the things, like, that Tiff and I were talking about, today. Like, as we're just kind of reflecting on the last 20 years that we've spent together, that's a long fucking time. And if we hadn't have caught this when we did, there's a chance I'm not sitting here talking to you right now. Like, not being dramatic about it. Like, legitimately, it was stage 4 cancer doesn't last for another 10 years, usually, So, like, it was good that we caught it when we did, because it could have really gone a different way, and we were kind of just reflecting on the journey. And like you said, this whole thing fucking sucks, man. It's just a weird, wild place to be in. We went out for dinner tonight. At the beginning of my treatments, my aunt, my uncle, and my uncle, who is Middle Eastern, had gotten us a gift certificate to a Lebanese restaurant about 10, 15 minutes away from my house. And I was like, when I'm done with my treatments, and I can taste again, this is the place we're going to go to. Because I'm really excited to have it, and I really want to be able to give it its the attention it deserves, right? And we went there to eat tonight, and I enjoyed this meal so much. It's the first time in a long time that I've been genuinely excited about, like, the experience with the food that I'm having. Which, like, sounds like a weird thing, but, for the last however long, it's been food as a means to an end because I have to eat,
I'm not enjoying any of this. And if you think about how much you eat throughout the day, right? How many meals you have, or a snack or a beverage or whatever. And if you think about all of that tasting like shit for months, it kind of becomes a thing that you don't look forward to anymore, you know? So actually, like, having been looking forward to this restaurant experience and then having it be so incredibly good, like the food that I had tonight, man, this is the kind of place, like, I would love to take you there, and you might hate it, and that would suck because it's expensive, but I would love to fucking take you there. Like, this is the best baba ganoush that I've ever had in my entire life. And as a white guy in southern New Jersey, I probably haven't had as much baba ganoush as other people have, but I feel like I've had a decent amount of baba ganoush in my life. This was incredible. It was just so fucking good. And the hummus was great, or the hummus is how you're actually supposed to say it. The Muhammada was incredible. The lebna, which is like this yogurt thing that was just, everything was fucking incredible. The lamb lollipop was just cooked perfectly. The steak, the chicken, it was everything about it was unbelievable, and I could taste all of it, you know? So it was like, man, I'm so excited about this, and I'm so happy to be experiencing this right now. And then just the thought of, like, but in a week, the doctor could come back and be like, well, sorry, you know, and that sucks. This is kind of a weird, bummy place to be in, you know?
I do. I mean, I do to the best of my ability. Obviously, I haven't been through what you're going through, but...
Sure. I did figure out a way to describe the feeling in my hand, though, and I want to see if this makes sense to you, okay? So, you know that sometimes your hand falls asleep, and you get that pins and needles feeling, right?
Right.
Okay. And you know how you can feel the sensation of the pins and needles, okay?
Uh-huh.
Does that make sense so far?
I think so.
Okay. So imagine your hand feels like the pins and needles sensation without the physical sensation of the pins and needles. You can just kind of like feel that weird numbness that's in your hand when that is happening. Now, combine that with how your fingertips feel if you've ever gotten super glue on them. Have you ever done that?
Oh, yeah.
I would assume you have at some point.
Pretty much every time I use super glue, I cannot not get it on my fingers.
I feel like that's everybody, right? You use super glue, it ends up on your fingertips, and you're like, this feels really weird. I need to wash this off immediately, if not sooner. If you combine those two feelings, that's what my fingers kind of feel like all the time. So now,
I don't like that.
Imagine, right? So like, imagine trying to like play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater with that going on in your hands, and you can see why I did not play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater over this last little bit here.
Yeah.
I even like, well, and it's weird too, because even if I try to play things, like I bought a couple of games because they were on sale. Right, so I bought two things on Steam. I bought for the grand total of, I think, like $4.12 is what it came out to. I got the most recent Battletoads. That was $1.99, which I thought was a good price for it. I don't know. What do you think?
The
$2 for Battletoads? Yeah.
You have an Xbox?
No, I have Steam.
Oh, I didn't even know that was on Steam. Huh.
Yeah. For $2?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Right? That seemed like a worthwhile purchase.
Absolutely.
And then I also picked up Them's Fightin' Herds.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Which it's the fighting game that started off as a My Little Pony inspired fighting game, and then they were like, the people behind My Little Pony Friendship is Magic were like, no. No, don't do that. Stop it. So they created their own characters, and it looks great, and it animates great, and it plays great, and all of those things. But that was also $1.99. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'll pick that up on Steam as well. And then for $18, Pacific Drive was on sale on the PlayStation Store. So I was like, fuck, I really want to get that on PlayStation because it's just a little too much for the Steam Deck to handle. So I picked that up today, and Tiff and I tried to sit down. She was like, all right, show me what this fucking weird card game is that you love so much. Let me see if I get it. And I was like, I mean, I'll try to play it. And I got through like the first 10, 15 minutes, and I had to stop because not only am I trying to play with my hands being all fucked up, but all of the different like movements and stuff, and like controlling 2 analog sticks and all of that, like they hurt when I was done. And I was like, fuck, man, like I'm not even close right now. As just like, now I'm just more bummed out. But whatever. It's okay. I'm going to get better. I'm going to feel shitty for the next little bit here.
I don't know. I don't know how to follow that.
No, there is no way to follow it. You know, like the only way, like hopefully next week, it's like doctor said we're all clear, and then how do you follow that with? Fuck yeah, you know, like that's the way that you want to go. Like this one is like, yeah, I mean, like Tiff's response to all of this and like the things that are happening in the world and all of that is like, I mean, anytime that asteroid is ready to just plow right into us would be great. Yeah. So, you know,
things are going great all around.
Yeah, you know. I mean, so like I continue to play Snap. That is what I continue to do because that continues to be the one thing that I can do. And yeah, I mean, that's fine. It's fine. It's Snap, you know? It is what it is.
It'd be weird if it was something else.
It would be. I mean, I kind of like it to be. I'd like them to add something new.
Well, let's see. What the hell have I been up to? This has been a weird week. Because we got snow this week. We got exactly 1 day of a fucking lot of snow, and then it was gone the next day.
Instantly gone. It's like, fuck you, I'm raining. Ha ha ha.
So yeah, Wednesday the kids were off school because of it was a snow day. So I took Ellie and her friend Aurora sledding, relatively nearby the house, and that was awesome. It was a physically challenging day because it was me and kids and sledding and climbing up and down hills and snowball fights and building a snowman, etc., etc.
Which is all awesome.
It is. It was such a fun day. It was such a fun day. I had an absolute blast, and I don't regret a minute of it. It was definitely caused me to be a little bit behind on work, but again, I don't care. This is
but worth it.
What's the point if we're not doing this? Like what is the point of any of this if I can't get kids out there and play with the snow when we actually have snow? It was a fantastic day. We came back here. I made them hot chocolate and put a fire in the fireplace, and they hung out and played Just Dance and stuff. It was just a great day.
That's awesome.
But it messed around with my gym schedule, which was weird, right? So I'm on 3 days a week, so I went Monday and Tuesday. And let me tell you, I am not ready for back-to-back days.
I was going to say, that's bold.
Yeah, see, I know I needed to do 3 days, and I was like, all right, well, what do I do? Like, I don't want to not go to the gym, but I also really don't want to get up at 5 a.m. and clear off 8 inches of snow to drive to the gym. Like, I don't want to do that. So let's just go Tuesday. So I went Tuesday, and it was all, fun and games while I was there. And then like afterwards, I was so wrecked of like, oh my God, Yeah, I wasn't
the
ready.
worst idea ever.
Wasn't ready for this, but like, I survived it, and then then I did the next day with going outside and shoveling a whole fuckload of snow, and then taking the kids and then bringing them back. And yes, I did Just Dance with them as well, even though when I was working, I did a couple of songs. So it was another relatively exhausting day, and then I went back to the gym this morning and did leg day.
Nice.
They say not to skip leg day, and that's not really a problem for me because, if there's one part of my body that is already kind of strong, it's my legs. So I worked my legs pretty fucking hard today. I am at the point where I'm genuinely enjoying the gym. This is not something that I want to stop doing. It makes me feel better to do it. But I'm sleepy.
Well, that's really outstanding.
It's been, it's had such a... When I would play games would be at night. We'd put the kids to bed, and then Karen and I would watch a TV show, and then I would stay up till 10:30 or 11 or whatever and play games, and then I'd go to bed, and as long as I'm asleep by 11:30 or 12, I'm usually good by the morning. But now I'm up at 5:15 and to go to the gym, and I can't stay up that late anymore. So I've
fucking early, man.
It is, but it's the only time that really works for me to go to the gym. But it's also now cost me my game time. So I've got to write a review for Stray, and I feel like I'm not nearly far enough in it because I have Saturday morning to play it. I don't know how to fit everything in my life anymore. It's
right.
I already knew I was at this position where if I throw one more thing in, I don't know how I'm going to keep doing everything. But now I've thrown that one extra thing in, but it cut out. I took it out of my sleeping time. Well, I need to add this other thing.
Which is also not great.
Yeah. I have to do this one more thing, but I don't know where to fit it. Well, fuck it. Let's just take it out of sleep. I don't need to sleep. Fuck sleep.
Nah. Sleeping is stupid. Sleeping's for girls.
I gotta figure this shit out. I don't know what I'm doing, but it's working, but it's not working. So maybe this week is just making me feel weird because it's been such a strange week full of interruptions, and I had to run errands to try to make sure I pick up gifts and stuff for Valentine's Day without anybody knowing it, and it's just been it's been a weird, tough week for that. But I did play a little bit more of Stray and a little bit more of Dogman. Stray is really cool. I didn't really understand the I didn't know about the kind of stealth action sequences where it's those weird monsters are chasing after you and you have to kind of puzzle your way through figuring out how to get past them without dying. That was a bit more stressful than I expected. And those areas are just so freaking gross looking, but it's a really fascinating world that it takes place in. I'm very into it. I think it's a great game. And Dogman is perfectly fine.
And Dogman is indeed adequate.
It's very much a kid's platformer, and I think I said everything I need to say about it last week. It's going to be it's going to be an interesting review to write. It's going to be it's fine. 7 out of 10.
And that's not, that's not terrible.
It's really not. I think that's what's interesting about it, is that it's not terrible. These games can go so horribly awry, and this is not that. It was a game that was at the very least made with a degree of care. There isn't anything that I'm getting to where it's this is just flat out broken. And that doesn't seem to exist. It was made with care, but it was also made to be easy enough for kids who are super young and into Dogman to be able to play and enjoy the game.
Which is awesome.
I agree. And then, of course, today is Valentine's Day. So last night, Karen and I did our date night. We went out to see Captain America, Brave New World, and I really liked it. It was a good movie.
It was indeed a Brave New World.
It was something. It's not a huge masterpiece. It's not oh my god, this movie was so fucking crazy good. It's not Winter Soldier or anything like that. But it's a Marvel movie, and I don't mean that in any sort of disparaging way. I fucking love Marvel movies. The exception of Secret Invasion, I have genuinely enjoyed everything the MCU has thrown my way. Every single piece.
Yeah, even Eternals.
Eternals is
it's not a piece of shit.
It's not. It's
just
a pretty
weird.
cool movie. Yeah, it's an odd movie, but I rather enjoyed that movie. Looking forward to seeing it again.
It just doesn't fit.
But now it does.
But, well, okay.
Now that big ass Celestial, that's the central plot point of Captain America. That's the thing.
I'm glad we're finally fucking talking about it. It's been years.
Yeah, COVID really fucked shit up, man.
It really did. Like, it's so strange.
I was reading an interview with Harrison. I can't remember if I was reading it or listening to it, but there's an interview with Harrison Ford where they were asking him, like, you know, how does this movie reflect the current political climate? And he's like, it fucking doesn't. We shot this 3 years ago. They shot this movie 3 years ago.
I know.
Like,
I know.
Yeah, this would have been a real nice close follow up to the Eternals, but like that's just not the way the world worked for a good long while there.
Yeah,
like things we're catching up, but like shit's been behind schedule for a long time. But like,
have you seen? Go ahead. Sorry,
I was just talking about the political aspect of it. Like, there's this message about Sam Wilson's messaging about like seeing the good in each other and whatnot. And like, yeah, this probably made sense about 3 years ago, but like now we're staring into the eyes of actual evil, and you don't really see. There's not a whole lot to see eye to eye on in a lot of these situations now.
There's no good Nazis.
The political climate.
I'm just not going to agree with you.
Yeah, political climate's pretty different now than it was 3 years ago. So that some degrees of that messaging, like, it didn't feel off to me because I understand that this is a movie. Like, President Ross is not our current president, and he's nothing like our current president, not even remotely.
Right, or the former president.
This guy served in the military. So it's just like when I was a kid and the X-Men cartoon, the president was a woman. Like, didn't bother me in the least. I understand.
It was totally fun.
This is not Earth. Like, this is not our world that we're talking about here. It's remarkably similar, but there's no superheroes flying around either. It was a bummer. It was a bummer. But I'll tell you what else was a bummer about this movie is that I didn't see the beginning of it.
Oh no!
And so, ever since my kids were tiny, for as long as they've been old enough to understand words, we have told them, "Don't jump on the furniture. Stop jumping on the fucking furniture. Just don't jump on the furniture." And then we'll inevitably catch them running around doing some dumb shit, jumping from couch to couch or something like.
Yep.
Don't stop jumping on the furniture. Don't do it. Stop it. You're gonna get hurt.
Just fucking, and you're gonna break the furniture.
And you're gonna break the furniture, which has been a problem in the past as well. Yeah. And wouldn't you know it, we're on our way out the fucking door to go see Captain America, and John falls, smacks his head on the ground.
Funks.
And we're making sure he's okay. He hit his head real hard, and he was shaking and really upset, and so we were like calming him down. The whole time I'm thinking, don't jump on the fucking furniture.
I fucking told you.
We've been telling you
1,000 times
for years, don't jump on the furniture. And now I'm going to be late for this movie, but it was fine.
Because you were jumping on the fucking furniture.
But it was fine. Movie theater.
But is that the message that you left him with?
It is the message that I reminded of him today. Because we left when he was still kind of upset and pretty shaken. But my mom was there and my niece was there and everyone was taking care of him, and he was fine. And within a few minutes, he was playing. But
you're nicer than I am.
Well, this morning I made sure. Now that I know everything's fine. Right. No jumping on the furniture. Stop it.
You fucking prick. Stop. Yeah.
So the movie ticket was for $5.50, and it was like $5.30. So it was like let's say $5:35-ish when we left. Okay. Movie theater is a good 15 minutes away or so. No big deal, right? Because the movie ticket says $5.50. There's going to be at least 20 minutes of nonsense, and then trailers, and then the movie starts.
At the very least, right?
At the very least. So we make it out to the theater. We stand in line and get popcorn. We go into the theater, and the movie is already going. Because this theater, $5.50 means that's when the fucking movie starts.
Not when the previews start.
Not when the previews start. Not even when the 20 minutes of bullshit before the previews start. Because, like, we usually don't go to this theater because it's farther away.
Right.
Like, the Tilton one is nicer, but it's farther away and the tickets are more expensive. So we wind up going to the shitty theater, the Hamilton Commons one, which is where we went to go see Dogman. And, like, a good half an hour in, when we're sitting in the seats, Ellie keeps turning to me like, when's the movie going to start? I'm like, I don't fucking know. We got all these commercials. It's just someday we'll get there. It's at least a half an hour of fucking nonsense before we get to the movie. And this time,
put your big head on the desk and take a nap.
I appreciate this so much that this movie theater
that's awesome.
Starts movies on time, except I could have used a fucking heads up.
Yeah.
Because if I had known, we would have skipped the popcorn and ran straight in. Like, we probably wouldn't have missed much. We probably would have, like, I was really excited to go in there and see the trailers, right? New Captain America movie. I'm probably going to get to see Superman on the big screen. I'm probably going to get to see the new Thunderbolts trailer on the big screen. Like,
the new Fantastic
Four. Like,
which
I'm excited
so
for a lot
good.
of movies this year. I'm really excited. Like, Captain America, I was pretty jazzed about, but, like, I think Thunderbolts looks fucking fantastic. I think Fantastic Four looks amazing. I think Superman's going to rule. I am jazzed about these movies. And I was excited to see the trailers and see what else they had, propping up in front of the movie. But no, we missed the whole beginning of the movie. And I'm very curious what we missed, because as we were walking in, like, we couldn't watch it because we were trying to find our seats and everything's pitch black.
Right.
But, like, they were doing the recap shit, like talking about stuff from the Incredible Hulk movie. And I'm like, this is what I want to see. I want to see all that connective tissue. I love that they're really weaving this movie back into shit. And so, like, all the exposition basically we missed. And then we picked up right when the movie was properly starting. You know what I mean? Like, all right, here's the first action sequence. That's when we got to our seats and got ourselves sat down, and we're like, well, fuck. That's a bummer. So I'm hoping Evan can find. I asked Evan to find the shittiest bootleg you can. I just want to see what the beginning of the movie was. Like, I'm not going to sit through and watch the whole damn thing, because that's just not what I'm not about that life. I just want to know what we missed. I want to hear the words. I want to see the images. Doesn't have to be sexy. Just has to be.
Doesn't have to be perfect. Yeah.
Which is how I felt about Captain America. It was a fun movie. It was I'm not going to dive into spoilers. I'm sure you'll see it at some point. I'm also sure that it's not going to perform extraordinarily well, which makes me sad. There was so much negative word of mouth about this movie beforehand from, like, the insider crowd that thinks they're real insiders. Like, this movie's been in production it's been going through a bunch of production nightmares. I bet the script's just an absolute mess. And, like, no, it wasn't fucking phenomenal. It didn't blow me away, but, like, man, when he transformed into Red Hulk and they started having that fight, I had a big dumb smile on my face. It's like, this is cool as shit. When Leader showed up, when I finally saw him, I was like, yeah, all right. I'm into this. I'm so happy that they did this. This makes me very happy.
Batman was there, and it was fucking amazing. And I was like, oh, they're finally doing it. Yes.
Optimus Prime rolled onto the screen. It was great.
Transform. And hey, Sam's looking at him like, I don't fucking do that. I just have wings. Transform, you prick. This is why your movie's going to fail.
Obviously there's the racism angle too. I'm sure that's you
look got
at
less
comments.
than 50% on Rotten Tomatoes already.
Yeah,
like before the movie was even out. It's fuck you guys, man. Like, just fucking stop it.
Yeah, like why? I don't understand why it's so fun to hate on Marvel movies. Like, I get it, they're popular, but you've been hating on them for a long time. How about you just go enjoy
they're
some
still
shit?
Popular.
They're still fun. Yeah. Like,
don't yuck somebody else's yum.
Marvel's got torn to shit, and that movie ruled. That was such a fun movie.
Marvel's was great,
Yeah.
but there were girls, Chris.
I know, and there was
Not only were
the
there
same
girls,
goddamn
but they
thing.
were people of color.
Ugh. Black Captain America is already, like, I keep looking through every comment section you click on. Chris Evans, man. Steve Rogers is my Captain America. This guy's not Captain America. Like, fuck off, man.
Yes, he is.
He is. In the comics, in this continuity, they wrapped up Steve's story. They gave him the shield. There was a whole TV show about him coming to grips with being Captain America.
Being the Black Captain America. He addresses your very concerns.
Yeah.
In the show. In the current season of Marvel Snap. The card that you can get is Sam Wilson, Captain America. Like, he is. It's okay.
And Anthony Mackie said some shit in an interview that, like, people were obviously taking huge offense to. He was talking something to the degree of, like, he doesn't stand for this America, like the one we're currently in. Like, no, neither did Steve. You think Steve Rogers would have been a Trump supporter? You out of your fucking gourd?
Yeah. Did you read Civil War? Steve was the one who fucking led the rebellion.
Yeah.
You dumbass. Just because he's draped in the American flag. Like, here's what you have to understand. We're not proud of America. We're not proud of all of you. That's the difference.
Well said. Not to get too overly political. So in excitement for this year of cool looking MCU shit, because Daredevil's in a couple of weeks and that looks great.
Yep. Are you watching Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man?
Not yet.
It's really good.
Super tight on time to watch things. Right now, we just transitioned to, we're not done with Shrinking. We're like halfway through season 2, but we needed to switch over to Cobra Kai so that we don't get spoiled. Right. Because there's spoils everywhere for Cobra Kai right now. And like,
I know every time I see something for it, I'm like, nope.
Fuck off. Let's watch this last season. So we're one episode into the new season. Because like I open up YouTube that morning to do something for work, and it's like the final scene of Cobra Kai season 6. Like, it just premiered 15 minutes ago. Fuck you,
assholes!
How very dare you?
I wonder if the same people who are so angry at Black Captain America are just as angry at Black Norman Osborn, and if they're not, I wonder what the difference might be. I wonder why they don't have the same energy, Chris.
Well, one of them's animated, but they sure were upset about did they make Doc Ock a black woman or something at some point?
She in Into the Spider-Verse.
All right,
Doc Ock is a girl.
Yep, Penguin was a girl. That was all big stink.
That was a whole thing. Couldn't have that. I wonder if they are going to have the same energy about a noticeably black Norman Osborn. I wonder. I doubt it. And I wonder why. Anyway, it's a good show. I think you should check it out. Have you watched any of Invincible?
Not yet.
Season 3.
That just came out too. When the fuck was I supposed to watch that?
Fuck.
I know it just came. I'm very excited. We're all caught up on Invincible up to season 3. Obviously, we're super stoked on it. It's trying to figure out what the hierarchy is on what to watch, because we really want to finish Shrinking. That show fucking rules. We got to get through Cobra Kai before we get spoiled, but that's all out. Invincible is not all out.
Should be next.
Invincible's probably gonna be next, but again, that's not all out yet, so we can be like, all right, we can hold off until the rest of the season airs, and then we'll still be okay. What's the other one? There's another thing we still haven't watched Creature Commandos yet.
Oh, that was fucking great.
Exactly.
I know. We're also currently watching Fallout. Like, we did episode 2 last night. So, like, did you, I know we've had this conversation, but I do not remember. You have not read the Invincible comics, right?
Correct. I have not. So I really don't have no concept of what's coming.
Oh, man. Episode 4. Once you watch episode 4, the ending of 4 made me so fucking happy, because there was a character that I didn't think was going to, because there's a lot of characters from the Invincible comics that are not making it to the TV show, because from what I understand, if they're in the show, then they become part of what Amazon owns and not what Robert Kirkman still owns.
Oh. Ugh.
And there was but like not as I don't think it's as nefarious as that sounds, but I think it just limits what he is able to do with them in other properties, which is obviously the nature of like these agreements, right?
Right.
So there are characters from the Invincible universe that have not shown up yet. And there was one in particular that I wasn't sure if he was going to show up, and he does in episode 4, and I almost came. I was so excited. I was like, yes, finally! It's my favorite character in all of the Invincible stuff. It was so fucking awesome. Good show.
It's a damn good show, and I can't wait to watch more of it. I'm also obviously, I'm caught up on Shoresy, but that's super easy to keep. Those are short episodes. There's one a week,
Right.
That's easy. But yes, I think we're gonna go Cobra Kai, Invincible, then Creature Commandos maybe. But no, because the Daredevil's gonna be out by then. Like, we're so fucked right now with the lack of time we have. Like, the
good thing about Creature Commandos,
we haven't even started the new season of Harley Quinn, for fuck's sake, and that's been out for like a month.
I haven't watched any of it.
That show's great.
Any of the seasons. Is it? All right.
It is. It's great. Fuck.
Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man are short episodes. They're like 24 minutes. So you can get through them pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. Creature Commandos isn't super long. Invincible's longer. But it just needs to be. There's just so much.
That's what she said.
No, she didn't. Don't lie.
Not to me.
I'm sure she said it to somebody. Anyway.
Well, I think that's about all I got. I didn't really, like I said, I didn't play any games besides what I've been playing. So I think that's just about it, right? You got anything else to add?
Say goodnight, Gracie.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it. That's it, everybody. That is our show. I think our first experiment was pretty decent success. Maintained a degree of energy throughout. Well, we're gonna stick with it for a few weeks. See how that all comes together. But anyways, we're almost that's our show. Join us next time for the February 10, 20, 30, 40, where we talk about notable releases from decades past. I haven't looked into it yet. I have no idea what came out in February, but hopefully something cool. It's always more fun when good games or interesting games come out. So
that's right.
We'll see. Anyway, we're on most social media platforms, and if you want to get in touch with us, we aren't very difficult to find. All it takes is a quick look at our show notes, and you'll see links to our social media accounts, as well as all manner of other fun stuff, like a link to our namesake, StoneAgeGamer.com, and more useful links than you can shake a joystick at. If you'd like to get early access to this show's episodes, as well as a bevy of other shows on the Geekade Podcast Network, check out our Patreon. Also linked to in the show notes. It helps keep this show running week after week, and our patrons are loved and appreciated. This show's theme song, Square Roots, was written by banjo guy Ali. You can learn all about his wonderful music and more by following the link to his YouTube channel, also in the show notes. And finally, as always, we'd like to thank our intrepid editor, Evan, for making the show listenable for all you folks. We'd like to thank all you folks for listening in the first place. That is it. On behalf of Dan and myself, keep playing games.